Hokage I can only draw S-rank rewards, Chapter 61-80. Chapter 61 Killer Bee Jinchuriki, Column Force Alternation. Kumogakur Raid Squad. It is said that Orochimaru returned to the frontline camp after Lei Luo left. What? Failed. Danzo had been waiting in the tent for news from Orochimaru, but he didn't expect such an outcome. A team of elite ninjas at the root, plus Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, can still fail. Danzo's face was gloomy. Don't talk to me in this tone, we're just a cooperative relationship, I'm not one of your puppets. Orochimaru's tone was arrogant, and he didn't take Danzo in his eyes at all. Danzo looked a little angry at Orochimaru's attitude, but he didn't say anything after all. Oh, by the way, I think you should stop going to trouble with Lei Luo, he is not so easy to deal with now. Orochimaru continued, of course, this is just a piece of advice for you as a collaborator, if you shot but was killed by him, don't say I didn't tell you. Danzo kept walking and left the tent directly. It is unknown what he thought about Orochimaru's words. Kumogakur Village, Yunlei Gorge. Shadai walked in side by side with Killer Bee. Bye, this isn't the most satisfying thunderbolt hot knife I'm most satisfied with. Now I'm just cooperating with your strength, give me more strength. Fourth Eye said to Killer Bee. Killer Bee tilted his head and said, with his comical rap, I know. You know, asshole, asshole. The fourth generation of AI slapped Killer Bee on the head, facing the big brother who said something stupid and bastard. You should be beaten, right, stinky boy. Killer Bee said unconvinced. One day I will surpass Big Brother and be as complacent as you are now. 4 generations of AI twitched at the corners of his mouth. The trick to this trick is equalization of power, and then it's up to you to cooperate with me. Killer Bee pushed away the hand of the 4th generation AI on his head and continued to rap. For me, that's an ideal, and I want to teach Big Brother a lesson from the top. Ha ha ha, the 4th generation AI raised his head and laughed. If you want to be delusional, you will have to wait until you have practiced the Thunder Plow hot knife. Then the two walked forward and walked into the Matsuri altar in Yunlei Gorge. The 3rd generation of Hokage I had already been waiting in the Matsuri altar. Looking at the two who walked in, he said, it's tonight, I want to seal the 8 tails into Bai's body. Shadai looked at Yao sealed in the Matsuri altar and fell into memory. When Killer Bee just inherited the name of Bai, the former Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column Libu Tuobi said something to the 4th generation of AI. If you can find something that can fill the void in your heart, I believe it can make people live strong. Help you find that thing. So, he took Killer Bee to a secret place in Kumogakur Village, Turtle Island, where there is a real waterfall that allows people to see the deepest part of their hearts. Killer Bee said, what's the matter, Big Brother, why did you bring me here? The 4th generation I replied, then you will become a human Jinchuiki, column force, and you will not be the same as before, you will suffer a lot. Killer Bee started his rap again, it's nothing, it always is. Let's call the octopus and rap. Shadai stretched out his right fist and stopped in front of Killer Bee. Looking at Shadai, Killer Bee stopped his rap, but solemnly bumped fists with Shadai. Listen carefully, don't hide anything, just tell me everything, Shadai said solemnly, you are very special to me, we are the strongest partner. Killer Bee didn't say much, smiled and accepted the test of the real waterfall. Recovering from the memory, the 4th generation I said to the 3rd generation Hokage, Father, don't worry, I believe then can become a perfect person Jinchuriki, column force. Killer Bee listened to Shadai's words and added 2 raps. Yo-yo, I'm very happy with the approval of my eldest brother, please don't worry if you choose me as Jinchuriki, column force, the perfect person Jinchuriki, column force must be I'm Killer Bee, yo-yo. 3 generations of Hokage nodded speechlessly, and then said, okay, then go to the Matsuri altar and accept the seal of the 8 tails. Soon, with the help of the Kumogakur village seal team, Yao was sealed into Killer Bee's body. Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force officially alternates. A month passed quickly. The two Kumogakure looked at Killer Bee, who was training not far away, and said, although it's an iron armor seal, it's not surprising that the 8 tails have gone berserk after so long. Yeah, but I shouldn't be able to fully control the 8 tails yet, I have to monitor it closely. However, what Killer Bee did next made them both laugh and cry. Killer Bee suddenly started his rap again. This uncle is Yahweh Killer Bee. I have no effort to control Yahweh perfectly, and I will definitely form the strongest partner with my eldest brother, Yo-Yo. At this moment, the 3rd generation Reikage and the 4th generation I also came over. Bye, stop exercising, come here. Bye, judging from your current state, you should be able to control the 8 tails. Then this task will be handed over to you and I, and the battle will better train your cooperation. The 3rd generation Reikage said. No problem, the task will be handed over to my brother and I. The strongest partner combination is unstoppable. This task will be a perfect success. Killer Bee accepted the task happily. Very good. Your and Bai's mission this time is to lead an elite team to sneak attack on various material bases in Konoha. Recently, Konoha has sent a lot of teams to destroy many of our material strongholds. We, Kumogakure, can't pretend that we didn't see it. This is the map of Konoha's material base, hand it over to you. 4th Eye nodded. Don't worry, father, it's a trivial matter. Konoha Front Camp, Orochimaru Commander's Camp, Konoha's Jonin gathered here. Orochimaru said. According to the information just received, many of our Konoha's material strongholds have been destroyed by Kumogakure's raiding team. There is no way to go on like this, we must stop them. According to the information, this Kumogakure raid team is led by the son of the 3rd generation of Reikage I. Who are you sure? Konoha's Jonin was silent for a while. The opponent was the son of the 3rd generation of Reikage, and his strength must not be underestimated. No one was completely sure to deal with him. Moreover, I must be leading Kumogakure's elite squad, and another than the traditional AB combination of Kumogakure village must be among them. At this moment, Namikaze Minato suddenly said, let me lead the team in this mission. Although I heard that Ai's shot is fast, I'm not afraid of him. Orochimaru looked at Minato with a determined expression and made up his mind. Okay, then Minato will be the leader of the mission this time, and the 3 of you, Akamichi Koza, Inuzuka, and Sarutobi Choji, will also complete the mission with Minato. Yes. Chapter 62 Namikaze Minato vs Abi Combo. Whoosh. A Kunwu flew towards the 4th generation of Ai, but he was flashed by him in an instant, and Kunwu was fixed on the trees behind him. The kunai system is special, and the 4 characters, Sword of Forbearance and Love, are engraved on it, which is the special kunai of Namikaze Minato Hiraishin's technique. The next second, Namikaze Minato appeared in front of him with 3 team members. This yellow hair and this flash. That must be the yellow flash. Jonin, one of the Kumogakure squad, said as Namikaze Minato appeared. If that's the case, why don't you run now? Another ninja said. After all, there is a rule in the village that if you encounter a yellow flash, even escaping is not considered a mission failure. But Shidai is not an ordinary ninja after all, so it is impossible to see Namikaze Minato and run away. Really, is he the ninja who single-handedly prevented Kyuubi, 9 Tails, from taking the mission? Shidai said. Namikaze Minato looked at the 4th generation of Ai, and asked, You are Ai, the son of the 3rd generation of Reikage in Kumogakure village. I heard that you are very fast. Killer Bee comforted the restless Kumogakure ninja on the side. Don't worry, with me and eldest brother, we will definitely win. Namikaze Minato said to the players behind him, Everyone don't move, I'm coming alone. Immediately afterwards, he stretched out his hand and took out dozens of swords of ninja love from the ninja bag at the back, raised his hand and threw it out, shooting it on the trees around the Kumogakure ninja. And the 4th generation of AI also directly entered the Raiden, Thunder style, chakra mode, and instantly rushed to Namikaze Minato's face and punched it down. Namikaze Minato let go of the last sword of forbearance and love, and then disappeared in place in an instant, appearing on another tree, and the fourth generation of AI fluttered in the air. You actually avoided my extreme speed attack. Fourth Eye was shocked. But what shocked him even more was that Namikaze Minato suddenly appeared behind him and kicked him. Fortunately, a huge octopus tentacle suddenly appeared behind him, blocking Namikaze Minato's foot. This is it. Namikaze Minato was also a little surprised when he saw the goal he kicked. 4 generations of AI took the opportunity to return to the Kumogakure camp. Sorry, bye, are you alright? Sidai apologized for taking it lightly. Killer Bee gasped and said nothing. The Minato team standing on the other side was also surprised to see this scene. This guy, could it be Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column force? Retreat. Minato, let's retreat first. Then Akamichi Koza, Inazuka, and Sarutobi Choji left immediately. And Namikaze Minato also turned around to leave. It's a big mistake. Yao is my Killer Bee, my uncle. Killer Bee replied. Hearing Killer Bee's words, Namikaze Minato stopped in his tracks, turned his head and said, your bravery is admirable. It's not that it's the Jinchuriki column power of the 8-tailed people, but that you call yourself a ninja. It seems that you have a very incredible talent. Stuff. Sidai nodded when he heard this, pointed at Killer Bee and said, in terms of talent, this guy is better than me. No, Namikaze Minato shook his head, I'm not referring to this, he has something more precious. Shidai didn't know how to answer, and he didn't know what Minato was talking about. You have a rare partner. Namikaze Minato continued, me too. Anyway, I believe that when we meet next time, you and I will compete in the name of Ying. What is the most important thing to your brother? If you don't detect it sooner, I'm afraid he will become no longer a human Jinchuriki, column force, and no longer a human being. Shidai heard this, but felt that it was a mess, so he shouted to Namikaze Minato, if you want to get away with nonsense, you will not succeed. 4 generations of AI thought in his mind how to successfully keep Namikaze Minato. He can move to any kunai position with the telekinesis technique, and I have basically mastered the kunai position with the technical style. If he will appear in a kunai next time, I can use the extreme speed. Defeat him. Then he entered Raiden Thunder style chakra mode and charged towards Namikaze Minato. And Minato looked at Shidai who rushed over, and said calmly, because I also have a lot of things on my back. The 4th generation Aishin said, let's jump, let me see which kunai it will be. Scanning all the positions of the kunai with the corner of his eye. So I won't fail. Namikaze Minato's voice just fell, and his figure appeared in an unexpected position, behind Killer Bee. The Kumogakure next to him was already stunned. There is a flashing technique drawn on the tail foot of the 8 tails. Is it that time? 4th Eye remembered the moment when the 8-tailed tentacles helped him resist the attack. But the sword of love that Namikaze Minato held high above Killer Bee's head didn't stab after all, because Killer Bee held a short knife against Namikaze Minato's body. Both losers have already made up their minds, it's better to fight head to head. Killer Bee said. Although you are an enemy, I admire you very much. Your movements are like a ninja killer. Namikaze Minato replied. But this time, let's do it first. I can't help you, and you can't help me. It's a tie this time. Then it suddenly appeared in another position where the kunai were. Then we'll see you next time. After saying that, Namikaze Minato left directly. The Abi combination did not catch up, but led the team to turn around and turn back to Kumogakure village. At this time, Lei Luo was practicing swordsmanship in the mountains and forests. Since the last mission to the Kumogakure stronghold, Orochimaru seems to have given up on the idea of dealing with him. The most recent missions assigned to him are all border patrol and support missions. This also allows him to take a certain amount of free time to exercise himself. But Lei Luo never let his guard down. Orochimaru is not the kind of person who is easy to talk, and there is a Danzo behind him who has never shown up. Now Lei Luo's biggest wish is to be able to trigger the task again, and then draw a lottery to get a curse-like reward, and directly kill Danzo secretly. Breath of Water. 1 form. Water surface slash. Breath of Water. Type 2. Water wheel. Breath of Water. 3 forms. Flowing dance. Breath of Water. Unbridled style. Tide. Breath of Water. Wu style. The rain of dry weather. In the mountain forest, the light of the sword flickered, and the bark of the surrounding trees flew around. Yes, now I can skillfully use the first 5 poses of water breathing, and this breathing method of water breathing is also very effective for physical exercise. If I can master all the breath of water, the amount of chakra can be increased by at least 20%. Then Lei Luo sat cross-legged on the ground, ready to adjust his breath to restore his state. Of course, Lei Luo cautiously turned on his omniscience and observed the surrounding situation. Unexpectedly, at this glance, I saw a figure hidden behind the trees not far away. Who? Come out. Chapter 63-Encounter with Kakuzu. Hearing Lei Luo's words, the figure hidden behind the tree came out. Sure enough, these 35 million taels are not so profitable. The figure behind the tree sighed. Lei Luo looked up and carefully looked at the man in front of him. He was covered with a gray hood and a black face towel. He wore Takian Village's forehead guard on his forehead, but there was a distinct scratch on it, indicating that he was missing Nin identity of. Lei Luo has already recognized the man in front of him. It is missing Ninkakuzu Takian Village. A long time ago, as the elite of Taki Ninja Village, Kakuzu performed the mission to assassinate the first Hokage, but was defeated in front of the Mokuden wood-style secret technique. Although he faced the danger of losing his life for the village, what awaited him in the village was the stigma and heavy punishment of failing the mission. This was a cruel act for a ninja who had risked his life for the village, and with a strong hatred, Kakuzu escaped from prison. Not only did he take away the grudges of forbidden technique, which was regarded as a treasure by the village, but he also took away the hearts of all the superiors in the village. He later became one of Akatsuki's members, was Hidan's partner, and served as Akatsuki's treasurer. The secret technique he possesses, Earth Resentment, can steal the hearts of others by using chakra to manipulate the black tentacles released in the body. Including your own heart, you can store up to 5 hearts in your body, and you can prolong your life by replacing hearts. Each heart can be turned into a black body monster formed by using land resentment, and its monster can use the technique of the original heart owner. It turned out to be this guy. He probably hasn't joined Akatsuki yet, he's just a bounty hunter. Lei Luo thought to himself, and my bounty is only 35 million taels. The same price as the future Asuma. Kakuzu said, you are the Konoha Anbu Black Shark, Lei Luo, the ninja of the light escape bloodstain boundary. Although it is a questioning sentence, the tone has already indicated his determination of the mission goal. I know my identity so clearly, it seems that the bounty was issued by the people of Konoha. Orochimaru should not deal with this kind of underground bounty, it is probably Danzo. Lei Luo already had the answer in his heart. Haha, it's a bit troublesome to fail the sneak attack, but boy, you'll have to pay for your actions next. I just happen to lack a young heart right now. Kakuzu suddenly said in a low voice, it seems that his patience very limited. And your light escapes the limit of blood, I will accept it. Humph. Is that so? Lei Luo snorted coldly, I'm afraid you not only won't have this chance, but you'll have your own heart. Lei Luo finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he instantly appeared behind Kakuzu. The speed was very fast, without any reservation. Kakuzu glanced back, and he was also very shocked. Is this the speed of light escape? But he naturally wouldn't sit still and attacked Lei Luo directly with his backhand. Lei Luo has the advantage in speed because he is very fast, but Kakuzu is not a vegetarian, and his physical skills are also very experienced. At present, it seems that Kakuzu's strength is indeed not weak, and his physical skills are already considered powerful, not to mention his best ninjutsu. However, Lei Luo quick speed and powerful swordsmanship also made Kakuzu a little annoyed, but out of face, he was also very careful to dodge Leiluo's attack, and returned fire from time to time. Until, Breath of Water, awakening the tide, the higher Inmaru in Leiluo's hand slashed dozens of times in an instant, and slashed directly to the angle with the violent sword chi. Oops, this kid is still very difficult to deal with, use ninjutsu to solve him. The angle was ruthless and hand-sealed with both hands. Futon, wind style. Crushing, Kakuzu suddenly blew a powerful storm shell from his mouth, which collided with the oncoming knife energy and dissipated together. Kid, I'm serious, Kakuzu said viciously. I saw that Kakuzu's back quickly flipped irregularly, and then 4 masks were quickly separated from his body. Futon, wind style. Crushing. Kaden, fire style. Head hard. Suddenly, the 2 masks around Kakuzu distorted, opened their mouths slightly, and quickly spewed out a strong storm, and a wave of fire. The wind helped the fire, and instantly merged into a sea of fire that struck Leiluo. But Leiluo instantly dodged the move by dodging into the air. The sea of fire hit the trees behind him, turning it into a piece of coke. Light done, Bakichang Tomo, Leiluo, who was in the air, fired countless dazzling light bullets with his backhand and smashed it towards Kakuzu. Good boy, Kakuzu couldn't help but exclaim when he saw the incoming light bullet. A mask waved behind him, and a tall earth wall rose up, blocking Kakuzu's face. At this time, Leiluo has come to Kakuzu with the trajectory of light. Break his heart first, Leiluo thought. Then, he waved higher Inmaru and used Breath of Water, Wu style, Seiyu of the Dry Sky, and cut off the mask that was using Futon, wind style, just now. Damn it, the tricky Leiluo in front of him greatly exceeded Kakuzu's expectations. Leiluo's speed is too fast, and it is difficult for ninjutsu to keep up with his speed unless he is limited by a wide range of ninjutsu. But this series of quick attacks took a lot to Leiluo. After killing the wind attribute mask, Leiluo quickly stepped aside and looked at Kakuzu solemnly. What's the matter, boy, have you given up attacking? Kakuzu suddenly showed a hint of pride. It was amazing that Leiluo was able to push him to this point. How is that possible? It's just that I will fight with all my strength. Leiluo replied disdainfully. Really, I want to see your full strength. Kakuzu looked at Leiluo and said solemnly, he didn't dare to be careless. This kid is very hidden, in case one accidentally hits him, that would be bad. The 8 inner gates. Open the door, close the door, and open the gate of life for me. Leiluo used the 8 inner gates directly, and the abundant chakra filled his body again. The speed also accelerated again, and Kakuzu could no longer see Leiluo's figure, so he could only use defensive ninjutsu to resist Leiluo's attacks everywhere. Breath of Water. 1 form. Water surface slash. Leiluo cut off one of Kakuzu's hearts again, this time with a fire attribute mask. Boy, I didn't expect you to be so strong. But I still have some things to do today. I'll let you go for the time being and see you later. Kakuzu said with a heavy look on his face. Kakuzu lives, the more afraid of death, so he is very careful about uncertainties. This time, Leiluo had already cut off 2 hearts, and he was not sure how long Leiluo's state would last. So after saying this, Kakuzu directly used the Doden, earth-style, ninjutsu, sneaked into the ground and escaped. Leiluo turned on the 5-vision omnipotent observation again. He found that Kakuzu had really left, and he finally relaxed. Chapter 64-Encounter with Abi Combo. It's been a month like this. Kumogakure and Konoha intensifies, and the horn for a decisive battle has already sounded. Report. An Anbu suddenly appeared in front of Orochimaru, knelt down on one knee and said, Lord Orochimaru, there is emergency information. Orochimaru raised his head, his eyes flashed with a cold light, and said, what's the situation? Anbu in front of him quickly reported the information to Orochimaru in the simplest words. Orochimaru, Luo's face had a hint of solemnity. Did the raiding force encounter Yatai again? And also used Tailed Beast Bomb? Orochimaru frowned. As the combat commander and commander of the entire army, he naturally has a very high strategic vision, and quickly analyze the possible situations that may arise in the future. That's fine, let's play this simple and rude game. Orochimaru stood up from his seat and ordered with a high fighting spirit on his body. All troops, attack. All troops, attack. On the other hand, Raikage gave the same order. Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force must never fall into Konoha's hands. Having said that, the figure of the third generation of Raikage has disappeared in front of his escort. On the other side, the Konoha raid and the Kumogakure Abbey squad are engaged. Die! For Dai roared, his body turned into a thunderous arrow, rushed in front of Luo, and then kicked out fiercely. That's right, at this time, Luo, as a member of the Konoha raiding force, happened to encounter the team led by Abbey. The two sides were fighting. Luo had just killed a dozen Kumogakure ninjas when he was noticed by the fourth generation of I. Luo's strength could be said to be crushing the average Kumogakure ninja, so the fourth generation of I rushed towards Luo directly. Come over. Bang! Luo also kicked out and collided with fourth AI, blocking him. Good boy, his strength is good. Sidai couldn't help but admire Luo, who was unscathed when he took a move from him. I recognizes your strength, and bears your name. Konoha Black Shark, Luo said coldly, and then took the initiative to attack Sidai with a knife. Haha, so it's your kid. I heard that Iwagakure's five-tailed Jinchuriki column Lehen was defeated by you, and you also brought someone to destroy the Canopy Bridge. Fourth Eye blocked Luo's attack. Said excitedly. That's interesting, let me try your strength. The chakra of the fourth generation of AI spewed out, and the Raiden Thunder-style chakra covered the whole body, forming a set of energy armor. Don't let me down. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed in front of Luo. But Luo turned around and avoided it, then kicked Sidai from behind him. Sidai felt the strength of Luo's foot, and then laughed contemptuously. Is it only this level? You have underestimated the secret skills of our Kumogakure village. You can't break my Raiden Thunder-style armor at all with your strength. Oh, really? Luo smiled slightly, then let me test how hard your Raiden Thunder-style armor is. Breath of Water. 1 style. Water surface slashing. Higher Inmaru in his hand slashed directly on Shidai's body with a cold sword light, slashing through the Raiden Thunder-style armor, and a trace of blood flowed out. It's not bad, it can actually hurt me, but you can only do it this way. Said the fourth generation of I Senran, and the Raiden Thunder-style armor on his body has been restored to its original state. You'll know if you try again. Luo was obviously confident. Humph, then I'm going to get real. 4 generations of I once again came to Luo, Raiden Thunder-style. Thunder Axe. Raiden Thunder-style chakra instantly gathered at the feet of 4 generations of I like a giant thunder and lightning axe. It slashed towards Luo. Bang! A deep pit appeared on the ground, but there was no trace of Luo in the pit. Your speed is too slow. Luo sneered. No matter how strong you are, what can you do if you can't hit me? Immediately after releasing countless light bullets with both hands, Light Escape. 8-foot Chong Tomo hit Shidai who was standing in the deep pit. Raiden Thunder-style. Heavy Flow. 4th generation I directly held Luo's light bullet, and the figure instantly rushed in front of Luo, and the right arm blessed by the thunder attribute chakra smashed towards Luo. It seems that the power of pure light bullets is already a little weak. Although Tomo's power is now considered to be S-level ninjutsu, but the power is too scattered. For a cage-level powerhouse like 4th Eye still doesn't make much difference. Luo looked at the 4 generations of AI rushing in and thought, it seems that my glittering fruit needs to develop some more powerful abilities. The higher Inmaru in his hand suddenly Shikai raised his hand and waved, and a thick vacuum ice wall appeared in front of Lei Luo. For Lei Luo's current strength, Higher Inmaru can already be used as a regular ability, and there is no need to worry about others coveting. 4 generations of I's arms smashed on the vacuum ice wall, and the ice debris flew, and the ice wall was instantly penetrated. But after Lei Luo had already left the ice wall again, he avoided this attack. There is still the ability of Hyoten, ice style. Shadai said with some surprise, looking at the ice cubes that shattered on the ground. The ice dragon spins its tail. Lei Luo shouted loudly, and the cold air of Higher Inmaru in his hand soared. With a sudden wave, he cut out an ice dragon. Roar! After Binglong got out of Lei Luo's control, his body instantly soared, and he rushed towards the 4th generation of I. At this moment, Shadai unexpectedly used a ninjutsu move that had never been used before. Raiden Thunder Style, Hell Thrust. This is the ninjutsu of 3 generations of Raikage, known as the strongest spear. Lei Luo didn't expect that the 4th generation of I also inherited this trick, but looking at its level, it can't be called the strongest spear. The ice dragon rushed to the front of the 4th generation of I, and the 4th generation of Raikage directly waved his hands, and the 3 fingers covered with Raiden Thunder Style chakra attacked quickly, instantly piercing the ice dragon's head. But the moment the ice dragon was smashed, a huge force of ice burst out quickly, and the 4th generation I was blocked by ice before he could react. Big brother! Killer Bee rushed over immediately. Seeing this, the other Kumogakur rushed towards the 4th generation of AI. But before they could run over, the ice that sealed the 4th generation of I exploded in an instant, and the 4th generation of I broke through the ice directly. Do it. Compare. The 4th generation I who broke through the ice looked angry, and he no longer wanted to drag Lei Luo on. Come on. Killer Bee responded loudly, then rushed towards Lei Luo from different directions together with Shadai. Crazy Cow Thunder Plow Hot Knife. Shadai and Killer Bee hit Lei Luo's neck one by one, but the next moment they suddenly screamed. Ah! The 2 of them retreated sharply, their arms fell to their sides, it looked like they were broken, and there was blood dripping from their arms. What's the situation? Shadai and Killer Bee were full of doubts. Chapter 65-3 Generations of Raikage arrived, a new mission. It turned out that just now, when the 4th generation I and Killer Bee hit Lei Luo together with the Raiden Thunder Style Thunder Plow Hot Knife, they suddenly seemed to hit the air, directly from the neck of Lei Luo. Passed through. Then Shadai and Killer Bee's hands collided, and the 2 were broken in an instant. And the reason why their hands can pass through is precisely because Lei Luo used the special ability of the glittering fruit, light elementalization. The light elementalized Lei Luo can be immune to physical attack damage, just to restrain Abby's combination of ninjutsu, but the consumption of this move is still too much. Lei Luo looked at the injured Abby group with a smile on the corner of his mouth. You 2 underestimate my light escape, the ability of light is not only speed. Immediately after opening his mouth, he spit out a golden flame from his mouth, light escape. Burning the sky, heading towards Abby. But at this moment, a little thunder flashed suddenly in the distance, and then appeared in front of Abby's group in an instant. Lei Luo's extremely hot flame did not produce any effect, and was directly cut away by the lightning. Lei Luo looked at the place where Lei Guang was staying, and saw a man with long white hair and an incomparably burly body standing in the thunder. Like a thunder god bathed in thunder, his hands stretched out straight and one finger was straight. Standing upright, Lei Guang straightened in the direction of his fingers, like a spear. Father, Shadai called out looking at the man in front of him. That's right, it's the 3-generation Raikage who came quickly from the Kumogakur camp. The 3rd generation Raikage turned his head to the 4th generation I and said, you should retreat with Bai first, Yahweh can't stay in danger, leave it to me here. The 4th generation AI looked at the resolute face of the 3rd generation Raikage, did not say anything, and directly retreated with Killer Bee. For no reason, because he believes in his father, the strongest spear and shield of the ninja world, the strongest Reikage ever in Kumogakure. Lei Luo looked at the 3 generations of Reikage nervously. The man in front of him, Lei Luo, was not sure that he would win. After all, in the original book, he could survive for 3 days and 3 nights under the siege of 10,000 Iwagakure. The man who finally died of exhaustion. At this moment, the sound of the system suddenly sounded. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering the mission and confronting the 3rd generation of Reikage. Battle against the 3rd generation Reikage. Tie with the 3rd generation Reikage. Reward the God level lottery point *1. Defeat the 3rd generation Reikage. Reward the God level lottery point 2. Kill the 3rd generation Reikage. Reward the God level lottery point 3. Lei Luo looked at the task reminder in his mind and thought, it seems that the 3rd generation Reikage is really strong for me at present. As long as the battle is tied, I can get 1 God level lottery point. If you can kill 3 generations of Reikage, you will have 3 God level lottery points. Wealth and wealth are in danger, fight for it. Lei Luo has made up his mind, this mission is his chance to take off. Although my shot at you may be regarded as bullying, but this is war after all. The 3rd generation of Reikage looked at Lei Luo quietly and said. Lei Luo is no ordinary ninja, not to mention the special Shuiji Byungwang Dun, but the sword with the power of Hyoten, ice style, in his hand should not be underestimated, and there may be some unknown cards. 3 generations of Lord Reikage, don't look down on me too much, I don't want to be told that I'm bullying the old man. Lei Luo held Hiranmaru tightly in his hand, and his body disappeared in place as soon as he finished speaking. The next moment, his figure appeared in front of the 3rd generation of Reikage, and Hiranmaru slashed his head. Breath of water. 1 form. Water surface slash. The light of the sword was cold, with the chill of Hiranmaru, and an ordinary ninja might not be able to stop this sword. But the 3rd generation of Reikage looked at Lei Luo who was attacking, but he didn't dodge, instead his eyes flashed with a light called excitement. As a man with a violent element in his bones, what he likes most is to confront others head-on. Raiden, thunder style. Thunderstorm fist. The 3rd generation of Reikage shouted angrily, and the fist wrapped the thunder light, with a tyrannical breath, and smashed directly on the Hiranmaru blade. Then, the 2 sides each stepped back and stopped. Ha ha ha, good boy, you have the strength. The 3rd generation Reikage looked at Lei Luo and laughed. Obviously Lei Luo's attack just now did not disappoint him. But Lei Luo was silent. If you look closely, you can see that Lei Luo's hand holding Hiranmaru is shaking slightly. The power of the 3rd generation Reikage is still unbearable. I can't face it anymore, my strength is completely inferior to his. Lei Luo thought to himself. Raiden, thunder style. Thunder fist. The 3rd generation Reikage charged towards Lei Luo again. But Lei Luo didn't make a hard connection, but swam with the 3rd generation Reikage with his speed. And within a kilometer radius of the 2 fighting, it has become a restricted area for most ninjas. With a bang, the 3rd generation Reikage once again forced Lei Luo, who was slashing with a knife, to retreat. Little devil, you are really strong, but you are not my opponent. If you are a ninja in our Kumogakure village, I will definitely accept you as a direct disciple. The 3rd generation of Reikage looked at Lei Luo gasping for breath with admiration in his eyes. He didn't expect that Lei Luo could endure under his attack for so long. The physical quality of the 3 generations of Reikage is really pervert, but Lei Luo feels that there is not much chakra left in his body. In addition, the ninjutsu of the 3 generations of Reikage has a certain power of thunder and lightning. Lei Luo has been fighting against the 3 generations of Reikage for so long, and every time they fight, there will be a slight numbness from the knife. Although this numbness is very weak, the battle for such a long time still affects his actions. Is this system mission going to fail? Lei Luo was a little unwilling. No, you can't give up until now. Once you give up, it may not only be a matter of failure of the mission, but may actually die directly at the hands of the 3rd generation of Reikage. Lei Luo bit Kiba and used the 8 inner gates directly. Open the door, the closed door, the life door, the wounded door, and the do door, all open for me. Lei Luo directly opened the 5 doors in one breath, and the abundant chakra filled his body again. I can only hold on to this state for at most 20 minutes, a quick fight. The 3rd generation Reikage looked at Lei Luo, whose momentum was rising again, and finally made his own trick. Raiden, Thunder Style, Infernal Thrust, 3 books. The 3 generations of Reikage's 3 fingers came together, and a powerful thunder and lightning power filled the cells, stimulating the cells in his body, allowing him to gain more powerful strength and speed than before. In the next second, the body of the 3rd generation Reikage turned into a lightning bolt and appeared in front of Lei Luo in an instant. The fingers have stabbed into Lei Luo's body fiercely. Chapter 66-3 Generations of Reikage defeated. Kumogakure defeated. But in the next second, Lei Luo, who was stabbed by the 3rd generation Reikage, disappeared directly. The speed of Lei Luo, who had opened the 8 inner gates, also increased again, and the 3rd generation Reikage just stabbed the phantom that Lei Luo left in place. But the 3rd generation Reikage looked as usual, and Lei Luo, who appeared not far away, rushed over again. Raiden, Thunder Style, Infernal Thrust, 2 copies. The fingers of the 3 generations of Reikage have become 2. The Hell Stab is the strongest trick of the 3rd generation Reikage. With the reduction of the number of fingers, the more concentrated the power, the greater the destructive power. Of course, the consumption of such a strong trick is definitely not small, even for the 3rd generation Reikage. This is a whole card. The 3rd generation Reikage who used the 2nd book was faster. With a squeak, the clothes on Lei Luo's abdomen were broken, and a wound was drawn on Lei Luo's abdomen. At this time, the figure of the 3rd generation Reikage appeared behind Lei Luo. 10 meters away. I didn't expect that part of it was avoided by you. The 3rd generation Reikage looked at the blood on his hands with a hint of pity. Lei Luo looked down at his abdomen. After all, he had studied medical ninjutsu with Tsunade for a period of time before, and had a sufficient understanding of the human body. If he hadn't reacted in time just now and dodged a little, Reikage's 2nd hand would have directly penetrated his body. You can dodge the 2nd book, but what about the 1st book? The 3rd generation Reikage's eyes were indifferent, then his speed increased again, and he charged towards Lei Luo. But the moment the 3rd generation Reikage stabbed Lei Luo with his finger, his face changed instantly. I saw that Lei Luo, who was stabbed by the 3rd generation Reikage, instantly turned into a golden statue, but the 3rd generation Reikage's fingers did not stab at all, but made a click, and the 3rd generation Reikage's fingers bent over at a strange angle. Lei Luo is using a magical equipment from the world of League of Legends, the Central Asian Hourglass. 2.5 seconds of invincibility, indestructible. The 3rd generation Reikage's fingers hit it, and the huge shock caused it to break directly. HMPH, I didn't expect it, Lord Reikage. The golden body time was over, and Lei Luo had instantly appeared in another place. The 3rd generation of Reikage has already realized that it is not good, but the huge shock just now not only broke his fingers, but also made his body a little slow. However, just as he was about to retreat, Lei Luo had already rushed in front of him. Breath of Water, 7 Style, Shizuku Ripple. This was the fastest straight thrust in Breath of Water. The 3rd generation Reikage only had time to turn sideways, but he was still pierced by Lei Luo's arm. The 3rd generation of Reikage kicked Lei Luo out. Little devil, the old man remembers you. I hope we will have the opportunity to meet again. The 3rd generation of Reikage looked at the main force of Konoha who had already leaked out in the distance, and said to Lei Luo. All Kumogakure ninjas obey. Retreat. Then he entered the Raiden Thunder Style chakra mode again and left. Although the 3rd generation of Reikage likes to confront hard, he is not a fool, he can still see the situation clearly and retreat in time. Lei Luo cut out an ice dragon again, but did not catch up with the figure of the 3rd generation Reikage. The ice dragon hit the ground, forming a big pit with a cold air. The system prompt also sounded again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the task of confronting the third-generation Hokage. The host successfully defeated the third-generation Hokage and obtained the task reward God-level lottery point 2. Lei Luo closed the 8 inner gates, took out a handful of military ration pills from the ninja kit and ate it directly, and then adjusted his breath on the spot to restore his state. If he was accidentally on the battlefield, he might lose his life. Don't use all your strength to defeat the 3-generation Hokage, but die at the hands of a nobody, that's too sad. Konoha ninjas, all out, keep going after Kumogakure. Orochimaru had already rushed to the battlefield, looked at Lei Luo who was resting on the side, and didn't say much. 3 generations of Hokage were wounded and retreated, which was a great opportunity for Konoha, and Orochimaru directly commanded the Konoha ninja force to continue the pursuit of Kumogakure. Kumogakure ninja failed to retreat successfully, but turned around again with the reinforcements that came, and fought against Konoha. But Kumogakure's 3 generations of Hokage and Abi have been injured and returned to the camp for treatment. On the other hand, Orochimaru and Namikaze Minato on the Konoha side are still in full form, and the Kumogakure side is losing ground. The 3rd generation of Hokage was in the camp, watching the battle information constantly coming from the front line, and understood that the Kumogakure situation was over. It seems that this time, there is still no way to surpass Konoha and become the first ninja village. The 3rd generation of Hokage sighed in his heart, why does Konoha always have so many talents born? Whether it's Namikaze Minato or that light escaped kid from Konoha Anbu, they, all amazing geniuses. Then the 3rd generation Hokage looked at Kumogakure Anbu who was waiting for the order in front of him, sighed and said, inform Konoha that we Kumogakure are going to stop and ask for peace talks, and then let all the Kumogakure ninjas on the front line withdraw. Yes, Lord Hokage. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. Lord Hokage, there is a battle report from the Kumogakure front. A figure suddenly swept into Hokage's office, and then presented the battle report scroll in his hand to the 3rd generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes flickered slightly. He was very aware of the character of the 3rd generation Tsuchikajinoki, and now Iwagakure is at a disadvantage, and obviously has no capital to compete with Konoha. The reason why he is still sticking so hard on this front is because he is currently playing against Konoha and Kumogakure. The power of the 3rd generation Hokage, he is also known as Akatsuki, who is the only person in the ninja world who can fight with the 8 tails, and the power of Kumogakure must not be underestimated. Sarutobi Hiruzen slowly unfolded the scroll in his hand, his eyes fixed. After a while, even though he was as calm as him, the content on the scroll made his pupils shrink. The next moment, there was ecstasy pouring out of his old wrinkled face. 3 generations of Hokage defeated, Kumogakure asks for peace talks. This information only shows one result, the 3rd ninja war that lasted for many years, the final winner is them. Immediately spread this information to various battlefields without any precautions, Sarutobi Hiruzen said. This big news can spread all over the country with the fastest news, and the war will end one day earlier. Yes. The Konoha Anbu ninja who had just entered Hokage's office heard the words and immediately responded. Obviously, he couldn't restrain his inner joy, and his voice was extremely loud. When the sound fell, he rushed out at the fastest speed. Chapter 67 Onoki's Reaction. Ambush. Land of Earth, Iwagakure Village, Tsuchikage Building. Lord Tsuchikage, I just received information from the Konoha and Kumogakure battlefields. An Iwagakure Anbu ninja, half kneeling, reports to the 3rd generation of Tsuchikage Onoki. Go ahead. Onoki looked at the documents on the table without looking up. Lord Tsuchikage, according to the information, Kumogakure has surrendered and is about to start peace talks with Konoha. Iwagakure Anbu said in a deep voice. What? Onoki jumped up when he heard the news, is that 3-generation Hokage guy so useless? Kumogakure was defeated by Konoha so quickly. It is said that the 3-generation Hokage and Kumogakure, Abbey combination were both injured, so that the confrontation in the frontal battlefield was no match for Konoha, so the three-generation Reikage decided to surrender and negotiate with Konoha. After listening to Anbu's words in front of him, Onoki has calmed down again, and now the main thing is what the Iwagakure should do. If Iwagakure continues to fight against Konoha, then when the Konoha ninja troops on the Kumogakure battlefield turn over to the battlefield of the Land of Grass, they can't resist it with their current situation. Now it seems that the Iwagakure can only retreat. But Onoki made a decision in his heart, thinking that the three generations of Reikage and Abbey were injured. You can't let the third generation Reikage negotiate with Konoha so easily. The strength of this Kumogakure village has been preserved too well. Don't blame our Iwagakure for not keeping promises. Then Onoki said to the Iwagakure Anbu in front of him, notify the troops on the front line of the country of Grass to withdraw. Then mobilize 10,000 Iwagakure elites. I will make the three generations of Reikage pay some price for his decision and send him a gift. A great gift. Yes. Iwagakure Anbu nodded yes, and went out to deliver news to the front. Time soon came when Kumogakure and Konoha signed a truce. The three generations of Reikage left the Kumogakure camp with the Reikage escort, Abbey's combination, and hundreds of Kumogakure elites, ready to go to the agreed place for peace talks with Konoha. The place where the armistice agreement was signed this time is still in the country of Thunder, and the three generations of Reikage don't think anyone will attack them at this time. But what he never expected was that at this moment, someone really shot him. A white on in the sky directly attacked the third generation Reikage, blasting him into the ground. Damn, Onoki, you bastard dare to attack. The lightning armor on the surface of the third generation Reikage was slightly dim, like a spark. The third generation of Reikage has already recognized the identity of the person who shot from this move. It is the third generation of Tsuchikajinoki. And in the valley ahead, countless figures of Iwagakure appeared. Fortunately, the third generation of Reikage used the lightning armor in time, otherwise Onoki's Jinten particle style hit him directly, and he would be seriously injured even if he didn't die. Onoki sneered. Humph. I'm all here for the village, what's the point of a sneak attack? The third generation of Reikage rose directly into the sky to attack Onoki, but suddenly saw a large number of Iwagakure galloping in the distance, and a large amount of dust swept into a torrent behind these Iwagakure, floating into the sky like wolf smoke. At first glance, the third generation of Reikage saw that there were thousands of Iwagakure reinforcements, and his face couldn't help changing. Counting the thousands of Iwagakure reinforcements ambushed in the valley, Iwagakure village is not likely to have 10,000 Iwagakure gathered here. If surrounded by these 10,000 Iwagakure, the hundreds of elites of Kumogakure village will undoubtedly have only one dead end. The three generations of Reikage had scorned Kiba at that time. These hundreds of elites, not to mention in Kumogakure village, even in Konoha, Sunagakure village, and Kurigakure village, are extremely precious and important powers. The three generations of Reikage brought them here just in case when they signed a contract with Konoha, not to let them die. If they were all damaged here, the blow to the Kumogakure village would be too great, and the three generations of Reikage could not bear it. Onoki, you, so mean. He didn't know the tricks at this time. In the battlefield of the country of Grass, Iwagakure and Konoha ninja have been fighting for a few years. Everyone thought that Iwagakure had done his best. Moreover, Leiluo destroyed Kanabi Bridge and cut off Iwagakure's supply line before, and Iwagakure did not mobilize his troops again. This made the three generations of Reikage mistakenly think that the land of the earth is empty and will not pose any threat to their Kumogakure, but they did not expect that Onoki actually mobilized 10,000 Iwagakure to ambush here this time. This pit is so deep that the three generations of Reikage can't climb out when they fall into it. Onoki hovered high in the sky, looking at the changing face of the three generations of Reikage. His heart was overjoyed. 3 generations of Reikage, I didn't expect it, ha ha ha, these 10,000 Iwagakure are my great gift to you. The third generation of Reikage stared at Onoki's big Yuhi nose, even more angry, but he knew he had to calm down at this time. The priority is to get them out safely. He can die, but these hundreds of Kumogakure elites must not die here, and there are also his sons Sidai and Killer B Jinchuriki column Force Killer B. 3 generations of Reikage immediately turned around and rushed into the valley, while roaring at the Kumogakure elite behind him, "Retreat!" At this point, 3 generations of Reikage had already had sex with thousands of Iwagakure in the valley. "You guys go back, I'm broken, let's go." 3 generations of Reikage shouted, with a thunder and lightning armor to protect him. He is completely a god of killing in the Iwagakure group. No one can leave a wound on him, and every one of his every punch is accompanied by the death of a large number of Iwagakure. "Lord Reikage, we're not leaving. Lord Reikage, we are going to fight with you." Kumogakure village took the lead and charged into the Iwagakure group again. At this time, more than 4,000 Iwagakure outside the mountain range have also arrived and are about to enter the mountain range. "No, Iwagakure has reinforcements." A Kumogakure sensed Iwagakure outside the mountains and was shocked. 3 generations of Reikage snorted angrily, "Come on. Lord Reikage." The elites of Kumogakure village realized something. "Don't stay here to drag this old man down," said the 3rd generation Reikage coldly. Suddenly, a white cube of light, Jinchuriki column, fell from the sky, instantly breaking down the 3 Kumogakure into atoms, leaving no bones. Jinten particle style, split detachment of the primitive world technique. Onoki's voice came from the sky in a hurry, as if under the gods, staring at them indifferently. "No one wants to run away. Go." The 3rd Reikage roared, and then said to I and Killer B beside him, "You will be the 4th Reikage from now on, and now is my last order as the 3rd Reikage. You must escape with them." Under the roar of the 3rd generation of Reikage, the 4th generation of I finally evacuated the Kumogakure ninjas with a sullen face and tears. "With the old man here, it is impossible for you to pursue the old man's companions." The 3rd generation of Reikage incarnates thunder and rushes towards the 10,000 Iwagakure. Hell stab, 4 books. Boom. Thunder and lightning roared and blood splattered. Under the attack of the 3 generation Reikage, Iwagakure had no one enemy, and in a flash, more than a dozen Iwagakure fell in a pool of blood. Chapter 68 _ The death of 3 generations of Reikage. Double draw. 2 days and 2 nights have passed. Whoosh. The 3rd generation of Reikage was gasping for breath. He had been fighting for 2 days and 2 nights in a row, and his physical fatigue had reached its peak. Even if he stimulated his cells with Raiden, Thunder style, there was not much reaction. They should have successfully returned to the village. The 3 generations of Reikage were slightly relieved thinking about the retreating Abbey group and those Kumogakure elites. The muscles all over his body kept shaking, sour, numb and astringent, and he knew that he was about to reach his limit. He looked up at the sky. Onoki was still floating in the air, and he was still surrounded by countless Iwagakure. The 3rd generation of Reikage stumbled under the feet, and was seized by an Iwagakure Jonin, who was hit by a boulder. The lightning armor on his body was like flames in the wind, flashing with a faint thunder light, and it was about to be unstoppable. Damn it. The words of the 3 generations of Reikage were a little hoarse and vague. "I'm sorry, 3 generations of Reikage, this is the end." Onoki's eyes were indifferent. In this battle, countless Iwagakure died in the hands of the 3 generations of Reikage, but their Iwagakure were already destined to win. Then, with the hand seal in his hand, another Jinten particle style white light hit the 3rd generation Reikage directly from the air. Boom. 3 generations of Reikage's whole person was smashed into the ground. The surrounding Iwagakure took a deep breath of tiredness, and even some Iwagakure saw that the situation was clear, and could not hold on any longer. One by one fell to the ground and fell asleep. Onoki's back, his eyes fixed on the deep pit on the ground. The 3rd generation Reikage, who was driven into the ground, struggled to get up. His body was covered with dust, and he was in a state of embarrassment. Even the fighting intent in his eyes slowly dissipated. His breathing became heavier. Party. As an opponent, you are worthy of my respect, so let me, who is also a shadow, personally send you on the road. Onoki said coldly, holding the hand seal in his hand again. Jinten particle style. Split detachment of the primitive world technique. Quote. A thicker white light hit the 3-generation Reikage in the pit. In the dust, came the last roar of the 3 generations of Reikage. Like a trapped beast, it was hoarse, and then slowly fell silent. 3 generations of Reikage, fight to the death. Lei Luo, who was in the Konoha frontline camp, heard the news of the death of 3 generations of Reikage, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. 3 generations of Reikage just died. Thinking of the scene where I fought with myself before, it was a pity that such a strong person was piled to death like this. I can't take it lightly. If I am besieged like the 3rd generation of Reikage, I'm afraid I won't be able to last a day. System, come out. I'm going to draw those 2 lottery points. This is the first time that Lei Luo has drawn 2 lottery prizes at the same time. Unexpectedly, 2 s flew out of the system at the same time and stopped in Lei Luo's mind. The *****6 prizes on the left are as follows. S-class item, Ultraman Transformer. S-level skills, Swordsmanship genre * Thunder's Breath. S-class weapon, Frostmourne. S-class item, Eye of Time. S-class equipment, Darkborn Scythe. S-class pet, Godzilla. The *****6 prizes on the right are as follows. S-class pet, Cubit Ninetails, Ari the Demon Fox. S-class item, Eye of Death. S-class gear, Sharia's Rhapsody. S-level skills, Swordsmanship genre Hayate Kendo. S-class item, Devil Fruit * Operation Fruit. S-class equipment, Guardian Angel. Lei Luo looked at the 12 prizes in the ******, did not go to check, but directly turned the ****** to start the lottery. Ding! Congratulations to the host for getting an S-class pet, Godzilla. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining S-class equipment, Sharia's Rhapsody. Lei Luo looked at the details of the reward he had drawn. Godzilla was a pet that appeared once in the last lottery draw. After this draw, he knew that Godzilla existed in the form of energy in the Hokage world, which was similar to the existence of a tailed beast. I'm just like an adult Jinchuriki column force. Why are you so powerful in the system? There is a tailed beast out of nothing. Lei Luo couldn't help but praise the system in his mind, but the system ignored him. Moreover, the Jinchuriki column power of a person like him is absolutely perfect. Godzilla does not have his own mind, and for him, it is an energy source. And because Godzilla has an atomic furnace-like organ in his body, he can constantly generate his own energy. That is to say, after Lei Luo merges with Godzilla, Godzilla's energy will continue to rise, that is, Lei Luo's chakra volume will increase. The second prize is a magical equipment called Sharia's Rhapsody, from the League of Legends world. As long as you equip it, you can increase your chakra volume by 20% and double the chakra recovery speed. And he also has a skill that he actively uses, which can increase his speed by 30%, lasts for 3 minutes, and has a cooldown of 24 hours. If the speed is suddenly increased by 30% during the battle, the enemy will definitely not be able to react. Lei Luo has never been disappointed by the system's lottery draws. Now with Godzilla and Sharia's Rhapsody, Lei Luo feels that he can continue fighting for 3 days and 3 nights. Without thinking much, Lei Luo directly fused Godzilla into his body first. A scorching sensation spread throughout the body, which was the energy provided by Godzilla, and then slowly condensed with Lei Luo's own chakra. Moreover, Lei Luo also felt that there was a furnace in his heart, and the beating of his heart was more powerful. As long as he was guided by his thoughts, there would be a steady stream of energy flowing out of his heart. Then Lei Luo put Sharia's Rhapsody into the system space, and the chakra volume soared again. Lei Luo slowly adjusted his breath, feeling the surging power in his body. The current me beats the previous me, not much to say, at least 3. And the fusion of Godzilla also makes his chakra more destructive, and the power of various light escape ninjutsu has also been improved. Since the 3rd generation of Raikage is dead, the 3rd ninja war should be over soon. Lei Luo couldn't help but feel a little tired when he thought about the years of running around, completing various tasks, and fighting constantly. When you return to the village after the 3rd war, you can apply for withdrawal from Anbu, and maybe bring a few students. And I also have to spend some time with Yuhi, Yugao and Rin. Maybe it would be nice to go to the Konoha hospital as a doctor like Rin. Just when Lei Luo was thinking about his life after 3 stops, Kiba, a dog he had not seen for a long time, suddenly entered his tent. Kiba, long time no see. Lei Luo greeted the person in front of him. After all, he had done a lot of tasks together before, so he still had a certain feeling. Lei Luo was also very happy to see that the dog Kiba was still alive. Inu Kiba nodded, but couldn't see the expression under the mask. The dog Kiba said directly, "Captain, Lord Hokage has summoned." Chapter 69-Goodbye Sarutobi Hiruzen. The 3 wars are over. Lord Hokage. There was a hint of surprise in Lei Luo's tone. That's right, Lord Hokage has come to the front line and is now in the commander's tent. Inu Kiba replied. Well, okay, let's go then. Lei Luo nodded in agreement, got up and followed the dog Kiba out. I didn't expect Sarutobi Hiruzen to come to the frontline camp, and I don't know what he has to do with me. Lei Luo followed the dog Kiba towards the commander's tent, full of doubts in his heart. Walking into the commander-in-chief's tent, he looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting on the main seat, with a familiar pipe in his hand. Lord Hokage, Lei Luo said to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Ha ha ha, Lei Luo, you are here, but I have heard about your various performances on the battlefield. You have made a lot of credit for our Konoha. You have grown a lot. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a hint of tone. Glad. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Lei Luo standing in front of him. At the age of 16 or 17, his strength could already be regarded as cage level, and he also made achievements that many people could never achieve in their lifetime. At present, among the younger generation of Konoha, Minato may be able to beat him, but Minato is also in his 20s. It's all what I should do. Without the village, I would have died a long time ago. Lei Luo said softly. Hearing Lei Luo's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes flickered slightly, and the smile on his face became a little more natural. Lei Luo, old man, let me just say something straight. The reason why I called you here this time is to ask if you would like to go with Minato and the old man to sign a truce with Kumogakure. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued. The previous 3 generations of Raikage were killed in an ambush by Iwagakure, and the 4th generation of Raikage they succeeded to the throne was I who had played against you and Minato before. How about it? Would you like to accompany the old man on a trip? Lei Luo listened to the words of the 3rd generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, and knew in his heart that this was a way to win over him by the 3rd generation. On such an important occasion as the signing of an armistice agreement, he took him with him to show that he valued him. Hee, this is what politicians do. Sarutobi Hiruzen is no longer the hero of Shinobu, and now he is a full politician. Although Lei Luo thought so in his heart, he didn't show anything, but agreed. Of course I do. Thank you very much, Lord Hokage, for your attention, but I have something I want to apply with you. Sarutobi Hiruzen was very satisfied with Lei Luo's answer, and the wrinkles on the smiling old face became more obvious. Oh, say something. Lei Luo then said, Lord Hokage, I want to leave Anbu after the 3rd battle. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned slightly after listening to Lei Luo's words. Then Lei Luo, what are you going to do after you leave Anbu? Lei Luo replied, I may be a Jonin in the future, and then I can spend some time with Yuhi and the others. After listening to Lei Luo's answer, Sarutobi Hiruzen's brows widened again and took a deep breath. No problem, Lei Luo, the old man agreed to your request. Then go back and prepare now, and tomorrow with Minato, follow the old man to sign a truce with Kumogakure. Yes, Lord Hokage, Lei Luo nodded in response. Early the next morning, Lei Luo followed Namikaze Minato and accompanied Sarutobi Hiruzen to set off for the meeting place agreed with Kumogakure. Of course, along with the Hokage escort, and some of Konoha's Anbu elite. When Konoha and his party arrived at the appointed place, the fourth-generation Reikage and Killer Bee were already waiting in the tent. The fourth generation of Reikage looked at Lei Luo and Namikaze Minato who were following Sarutobi Hiruzen, and a killing intent burst out from his body, but it was quickly suppressed. The reason why their Kumogakure failed in this war has a great relationship with Lei Luo. Although he really wanted to kill Lei Luo and Lei Luo directly, he also knew that this was impossible, and the most important thing at the moment was to sign a truce with Konoha, and then the whole village could have time to recuperate. I'm sorry, it looks like I'm late, old man. Entering the tent, Sarutobi Hiruzen took a cigarette after sitting down and said softly. Lei Luo and Namikaze Minato were standing behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, while the rest of Konoha who accompanied him were all guarding outside the tent. It doesn't matter, we always have to maintain some respect for the elderly. The fourth-generation Reikage said, his dissatisfaction was clearly expressed in his tone. Standing behind him is Killer Bee, as well as the well-known Ai's bodyguard in the original book, the future fifth-generation Reikage Darui. This is the truce that our Kumogakure gave, and if you Konoha have no objection, we can sign it right away. Then, Darui, who was beside Reikage of the fourth generation, handed over a document. Namikaze Minato took it over and handed it over to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked a cigarette and glanced down at the terms of the Kumogakure agreement, which were similar to Konoha's future expectations and acceptable. However, since Kumogakure has given these conditions, it means that these are not the bottom line of Kumogakure, and we can talk about it again. These regulations aren't a big problem, aren't they? Sarutobi Hiruzen said. But what? The fourth-generation Reikage is an impatient person and can't stand Sarutobi Hiruzen's chirping movements. But this is a negotiation between countries. Whoever worries first will be at a disadvantage. It seems Sarutobi Hiruzen has to teach the young Reikage a lesson. However, for the post-war compensation, we Konoha ask for a 20% increase. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a puff of smoke. 20%. Impossible. 0.5% at most. Otherwise, our Kumogakure wouldn't mind continuing the war with you Konoha. Fourth Reikage slammed the table and stood up. Sarutobi Hiruzen has experienced much more than the fourth-generation Reikage. Since the fourth-generation Reikage is relieved, it means that Kumogakure will never go to war with Konoha again. That's 1.5%. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled, apparently not under pressure. Then the two sides went back and forth for a while, and finally decided that Kumogakure's post-war compensation to Konoha increased by 10%. Don't underestimate this 10%, the compensation for wars between countries is not a small amount. Then we Konoha have one last request. As long as you agree, we can immediately sign the contract. The specific regulations have been negotiated, and Sarutobi Hiruzen has relaxed. Lei Luo, on the other hand, looked at the two shadows arguing with each other in front of him, and felt an eye-opener. No matter his past or present life, it was the first time he was able to watch such a high-level negotiation live. What conditions? Tell me. The fourth generation of Reikage felt a little tired after wrangling for so long. Our final condition in Konoha is the name of this armistice, which must be the armistice for the defeat of Kumogakure and the compensation clause. That's right, the most important thing for Konoha is that Kumogakure must add the word, defeated. The fourth generation Reikage also understood what Sarutobi Hiruzen meant, and said the last word with all her strength. Good. The successful signing of the armistice agreement also means that the Third Ninja War has finally ended. Chapter 70-4 Generations of Hokage elections begin. With the news that Konoha and Kumogakure successfully signed an armistice agreement, other shinobi villages also announced an armistice, and the Third Shinobi World War officially ended. Lei Luo and other frontline troops returned to the village, after a few days of festivities. The third generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen said that he is too old to continue to hold the position of Hokage. Now that the war is over, it is time for the village to elect the fourth generation of Hokage. So Konoha village set off a frenzy to elect the fourth generation Hokage, and there were countless voices of discussion. In the Hokage office, the patriarchs of the major families and the elite Jonin in Konoha gathered here to nominate candidates for 4 generations of Hokage. Everyone recommends who you think is qualified to serve as the fourth generation Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Several Jonins from the Uchiha clan were very impatient and took the lead in expressing their support for the patriarch Uchiha Fugaku to become the fourth generation Hokage. But the other clans were watching from the sidelines, and they all knew that it was absolutely impossible for the Uchiha clan to become Hokage in the village. Cough cough. Jiraiya felt a little weird looking at the scene in front of her, and said aloud, I nominated my disciple Namikaze Minato to be the fourth generation Hokage. Many civilian Jonin nodded after listening to Jiraiya's words. Namikaze Minato is the pride of civilian ninja. If he can serve as Hokage, perhaps civilian ninja will have more chances to succeed. Pop. Tsunade clapped the table and stood up. Do you have any disciples in Jiraiya? I also recommended my student Lei Luo to nominate the fourth generation of Hokage. He once defeated the five-tailed Jinchuriki Column Lehen in the battlefield of the Land of Wind. Also destroyed the Ki Canopy Bridge on the battlefield of the Grassland, and he was undefeated against the 3 generations of Raikage. I think his strength and achievements are enough to serve as Hokage. Tsunade, don't you make trouble. Jiraiya felt a headache looking at Tsunade. Lei Luo is still too young. I think he's more or less the same as the 5th generation Hokage. Shimura Danzo finally opened his mouth. No doubt he supported his collaborator Orochimaru. I nominated Orochimaru to be Hokage. No matter in terms of strength or merit, he is stronger than the 2 little devils I just mentioned. Jiraiya and Tsunade opened their mouths, but said nothing. Orochimaru was their teammate after all, and they deserved their support. Okay. Sarutobi Hiruzen tapped the table with his pipe. Since you all have your own nominees, let the people in the village decide who will be the fourth Hokage. Anbu arranged for everyone in the village to vote for the fourth generation of Hokage. Yes. The majority of villagers and ninjas heard about the Hokage election vote, and they were talking about it. I think the fourth generation Hokage must be one of the Sannin. Sannin are all good, and they are also the apprentices of the third generation Hokage. No matter who they are, they have the qualifications and strength to become the fourth generation Hokage. Passerby Ja say. Che, aren't you talking nonsense, but in the end there will only be one person who can become the fourth generation of Hokage. Passerby B said. I think Orochimaru-sama should become the fourth generation Hokage. He has a lot of military exploits, is powerful, and is particularly attractive. Passerby A said. Master Orochimaru is strong, but I disagree with you saying he is attractive. I always feel like I'm being watched by snakes when I'm staring at him. It's weird. It's better to be Tsunade-sama, hers. I don't know how many ninjas have been saved by medical ninjutsu, and its reputation is very high. Passerby C said, and shuddered. Passerby A looked at Passerby C with contempt, and said, hey, you're obviously too timid. But it's not bad for Tsunade-sama to be the fourth generation Hokage. Ding! A passerby on the other side, also said, why don't you mention Mr. Jiraiya? He is one of the Sannin, his strength is not bad, and his personality is very approachable, so he can get along with everyone. The people nearby looked at this man at the same time with contempt on their faces. What's wrong? What did I say wrong? Being despised by everyone, Passerby Ding couldn't help shrinking his neck. Another passerby said, brother, as soon as you heard it, you knew you didn't get the latest news. Master Jiraiya has made it clear in public that he has no intention of taking the position of Hokage and will not participate in the election of Hokage. What he supports is his disciple, Namikaze Minato, who has the name of Yellow Flash. And another passerby said, "Cut. Your information is not accurate." Sir Tsunade also stated that she will not participate in the Hokage election this time. She supports her student Lei Luo. Lei Luo. Everyone expressed their doubts. Lord Lei Luo was Anbu who directly belonged to the third generation of Lord Hokage, codenamed Black Shark, and once defeated Wu Wei in the battlefield of the Land of Winds, and the Canopy Bridge in the Land of Grass was also led by Lei Luo to destroy the team of. Oh, I knew when you said, Konoha Black Shark. I've heard of him before. I heard that Lord Lei Luo is a ninja who has not appeared in the ninja world for hundreds of years, and he is very powerful. I have decided that I will vote for Lord Lei Luo. No, I'm still going to vote for Orochimaru-sama. I'm going to vote for Namikaze Minato-sama. In the voice of the crowd, the voting for the fourth generation of Hokage officially started. Somewhere outside Konoha, Orochimaru's secret laboratory. A figure wearing a bandage and holding a cane walked in. Danzo, what are you doing here? Orochimaru put down the test tube in his hand and stared at the uninvited Shimura Danzo with a pair of snake pupils. The fourth-generation Hokage election has begun. Danzo said in a deep voice. Isn't it the fourth-generation Hokage election? So what? Orochimaru said indifferently. I found someone in the village building for Namikaze Minato, obviously Hiruzen. He wants Namikaze Minato to be the fourth Hokage. Aren't you mad at all? Danzo's eyes twinkled. Why are you angry? Orochimaru said with a sinister smile. Hee, Danzo, I didn't take Hokage's seat in my eyes at all. Danzo's lips moved slightly, and he was about to say something. But he was interrupted directly by Orochimaru. Orochimaru said lightly, you don't need to say anything, the old man wants whoever he wants to be Hokage, let him be. Danzo's face darkened. He didn't understand why Orochimaru didn't care about Hokage's seat so much. That's what he's dreamed of. He wanted to say more, but Orochimaru had turned around and continued to fiddle with his lab equipment. At the same time, Orochimaru turned his back to him and said, Danzo advisor, don't give up. Humph. Danzo turned and walked away, his eyes flickering with deep resentment. Only immortality is what I pursue. The mere Hokage position is nothing compared to the technique of immortality. Orochimaru looked at Danzo's back and shook his head, then continued his experiment. Chapter 71-Experiment Exposed, Defect. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. It was late at night, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was still working on documents in his office. Although the Third Ninja World War has ended, the aftermath of the war has become more troublesome. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up from the document, lit a pot of cigarettes, and took a deep breath. Then stood up and walked back and forth in the office. Hey, it looks like I'm really getting old. Sarutobi Hiruzen rubbed his waist quietly, and the Anbu ninja who was hiding in the dark pretended not to see it. At this moment, another Anbu ninja suddenly entered the Hokage office and half-kneeled in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Lord Hokage, secret information. Sarutobi Hiruzen's usually amiable face gradually darkened after reading the information handed by the Anbu ninja in front of him. He looked at this Anbu with an imperceptible deep meaning in his eyes. Where did this news come from? He asked. It was discovered by one of my team members by accident, Anbu ninja said. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face changed. He wasn't stupid, could he not guess the tricks in it? However, he didn't have time to investigate the tricky part of it. This matter is indeed too much. So Sarutobi Hiruzen said to the Anbu ninja in front of him, you call the previous Anbu team and come with me. Anbu ninja responded, yes. Let's go now. After saying that, Sarutobi Hiruzen took off the Hokage robe, revealing the battle costume inside, and ran out in the lead. Somewhere outside Konoha, Orochimaru's secret laboratory. Boom. Sarutobi Hiruzen violently broke in with the Anbu team. It was discovered after all, Mr. Sarutobi. Orochimaru turned his head and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a smile. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw everything in the laboratory. He couldn't believe it. His face was full of grief. Orochimaru, how can you do such a thing? His words were full of anger and grief. His proud disciple actually attacked the people in his village. Why can't this kind of thing be done? Orochimaru asked rhetorically. In times of war, it's normal for someone to die. Rather than dying worthless on the battlefield, these people might as well be my experimental material. What are you researching? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. The technique of immortality, Orochimaru said, with an undisguised excitement on his face. I will surpass my ancestors and create a technique of immortality in the true sense. I will have endless time and learn all the forbearance in the world. Art, and inquire into all the truths of the world. Orochimaru, you have gone astray. Sarutobi Hiruzen shed tears of heartache upon hearing Orochimaru's remarks. Orochimaru calmed down instantly. He looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen, shook his head, and said somewhat disappointedly, sure enough, you won't understand me, Sarutobi teacher. Go ahead, Orochimaru, so I can save your life. Sarutobi Hiruzen suppressed his grief, but there was a hint of pleading in his words. Capture without a hand. Leave me alone. Orochimaru smiled, and the purple eyeshadow on his face made him look even more sinister. Sarutobi-sensei, you are already old, and I can no longer see the spirit of being a ninja in you. You can't leave me alone. After listening to Orochimaru's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen no longer had the will to talk to Orochimaru anymore. Since he couldn't change his mind, he could only use violence to catch him. Then let you see, teacher, whether I still have the strength to be a ninja. Doton, Earth Style, Earth Flow River, quote. After a while, Orochimaru broke through the blockade of Sarutobi Hiruzen and escaped. Now that the matter was exposed, Orochimaru no longer had any nostalgia for Konoha, and ran directly outside the village barrier. But to his surprise, he met an unexpected person outside the Konoha barrier. Jiraiya. Orochimaru frowned. Jiraiya stared at Orochimaru with a serious expression he had never seen before. Orochimaru, are you really leaving? Jiraiya, you can't stop me. The old man can't do it, and you can't do it either. Konoha is not where I should be. I have my goals, and these Konohas can't give me. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya and said lightly, you are not my opponent, get out of the way. I won't let you go. Jiraiya replied equally forcefully. Flash of murderous intent flashed in Orochimaru's eyes. Hee, what can you do with the back of the crane? You can't do anything. Now you can't stop me from leaving, and you will find many things that you can't stop in the future. It's just because I'm human that I'm so weak. I'll get rid of this weakness and look for the ultimate truth of this world with a new attitude. Orochimaru said in a frenzied tone, then stared gloomily at Jiraiya, coldly said, so, everyone who stops me must die. You too. If that's the case, don't blame me for being rude. Even if I break your leg, I'll take you back. Jiraiya said in a deep voice. Hand seal in Jiraiya's hand, the art of psychic. Directly summoned Toad Bunta. Orochimaru was also unceremonious when he saw this, and he also summoned 10,000 snakes. Since you want to start, then I will play with you and let you know the gap between us. Then, with a crazy hand seal in his hand, Kaden Fire Style. Dragon Flame Jutsu, he opened his mouth and spit out a fire dragon, heading straight for Jiraiya. Jiraiya jumped on the spot, avoiding the incoming fire dragon, and then pressed his backhand on the fire dragon's head to directly disperse it. Isn't this the Rasengan developed by Minato? It's ridiculous that you are a master. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya's move, recognized it at a glance, and sneered. Hee, Orochimaru, you are envious of me having a good disciple. Jiraiya was not ashamed of using the ninjutsu developed by the disciple, but was proud. Jiraiya's words seemed to hit Orochimaru's sore spot, which made Orochimaru think of Lei Luo. When I think of Lei Luo, I have to think of the last time I shot Lei Luo but couldn't help him. Lei Luo-kun, sooner or later I will get your light and blood, Orochimaru thought to himself. Then Orochimaru opened his mouth and said to Jiraiya, the tail of the crane, I won't play with you anymore, don't come to me again. As soon as the words fell, Orochimaru's neck stretched violently, and then bit Jiraiya's neck. Jiraiya fell to the ground in an instant, enduring the pain and using chakra to remove the toxins from her body. Then Orochimaru took back the snake and left. Toad went to look at Orochimaru, who was far away and did not catch up, but reversed the channeling out of Minato and asked him to rescue Jiraiya, and then he released the spirituality and returned to Mount Myoboku. Chapter 72-4 Generations of Hokage Namikaze Minato. Big Wedding. Orochimaru left after all, turning from Konoha Sannin into an S-rank missing nin. Jiraiya became very depressed because of Orochimaru's departure. He felt that after all, he was not strong enough to keep Orochimaru. The only thing that pleases him, though, is that his apprentice, Yellow Flash, Namikaze Minato, was successfully elected to the 4th Hokage. The 3rd generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen has submitted the application for the succession of the 4th generation Hokage to the Fire Country Daimyo. As long as the Fire Country Daimyo replies, Namikaze Minato will officially become the 4th generation Hokage. Of course, submitting the name of the Country of Fire is just a formality. Soon, a week has passed, and the receipt of the Fire Country Daimyo has also arrived in the hands of Sarutobi Hiruzen, along with the messenger of the Fire Country Daimyo. And today, it's time for the Hokage handover ceremony in Konoha village. Today, all the idol ninjas in Konoha, as well as various families, have sent people to the square in front of the Hokage building, which is undoubtedly the most suitable place for this ceremony. Lei Luo mixed in with the crowd, watching Namikaze Minato kneel in front of the 3rd generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, took the Hokage hat from Sarutobi Hiruzen, put it on his head, and then put on Hokage's exclusive royal robe. When Sarutobi Hiruzen said, "Please, Shidemu," everyone present cheered. Namikaze Minato looked solemn, nodded vigorously, and said, "I will die." Immediately after that, Namikaze Minato issued an inauguration declaration, which is simply the will of fire, everything for the village and so on. Then Minato, as the 4th generation of Hokage, successively received people from various Konoha families, as well as representatives from various aspects, including representatives from the Fire Kingdom Daimyo, and Sunagakur village also sent representatives to congratulate. Just a few days after Namikaze Minato succeeded Hokage, another news spread in the village. The new 4th generation Hokage Namikaze Minato is getting married. Shadow of a village's wedding is undoubtedly big news, and it has diluted the negative impact of Orochimaru's defection not long ago. When Lei Luo heard the news, he felt a little inexplicable. After so many twists and turns and wars, Minato and Kushina are finally about to enter the wedding hall, which means that it is not long before Uzumaki Naruto was born. It's probably only a year away. Lei Luo thought. Uzumaki Naruto was born when Obito attacked Konoha and the Kyuubi, Nine Tails, rebellion occurred, and the young couple Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina would also die in this rape. Lei Luo was walking on the streets of Konoha, looking at the smiling villagers, but felt a little sad in his heart. During the Kyuubi, Nine Tails, rebellion, I don't know how many civilians will die and have no strength to protect themselves. It's really sad. I don't know if Obito has found out that Rin is still alive now, I guess not. Uchiha Madara and Black Zetsu probably won't tell Obito the news. Then the Kyuubi, Nine Tails, rebellion seems inevitable. At this moment, Lei Luo found a familiar figure lying on the outer wall of Enbitang, a wretched uncle with white hair. Lei Luo suddenly felt teasing, and directly shouted, "Master Jiraiya, where are you doing?" "Ah! Someone peeking." Because of Lei Luo's voice, everyone in the female soup also discovered Jiraiya. Screaming and scolding coexisted in an instant, and the basin and nosebleed flew together. Of course, the nosebleed was Jiraiya's. Bastard boy, what are you doing? Jiraiya yelled loudly at Lei Luo as he ran. Lord Jiraiya, what are you doing? Lei Luo ran after Jiraiya pretending not to understand. I'm picking up material. Jiraiya stopped and immediately returned to her sanctimonious appearance. Fetching. Of course Lei Luo knew what Jiraiya was doing. Yes, as an excellent writer, I can never forget the spirit of sacrifice for creation. Jiraiya looked at Lei Luo proudly. But aren't you peeping in the women's bathhouse? Lei Luo looked at Jiraiya teasingly. Lei Luo found that he was bickering with Jiraiya, and his mood became much happier. I'm a dignified Konoha Sannin, Jiraiya, known as a hero, how can I do something like peeping at the women's bathhouse? Jiraiya immediately concealed his embarrassment and said loudly in a mighty pose. Oh, really? Then I wonder if Teacher Tsunade will think you're taking material after knowing this news. Lei Luo replied. After listening to Lei Luo's words, Jiraiya showed a look of fear, remembering that he had 8 ribs broken by chakra-enhanced strength last time because he peeked at Tsunade's bath, and he recovered after lying in bed for 2 months. So Jiraiya said, Humph. I don't care about your disturbing my materials, but there is no next time. Then an instant technique left. Lei Luo looked at Jiraiya, whose voice was hard, but the escaped figure was a little embarrassed, and couldn't help laughing. Namikaze Minato's house is very lively today. Today is the day of Namikaze Minato and Kushina's wedding. In addition to the necessary guards in Konoha, all came to congratulate the 4th-generation Hokage. Hyuga clan, the Nara clan, the Yamanaka clan, the Akamichi clan, and the wealthy family of Konoha all came to Minato's house. Of course, the head of the Sarutobi clan and Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen also came to Minato's house as today's officiant. Even Uchiha Fugaku, the patriarch of the Uchiha clan who had competed with Minato for the position of Hokage for 4 generations, came to Minato's wedding in person, and even Danzo, who was not very active, sent a congratulatory gift from his subordinates. Lei Luo did not miss the opportunity to witness the wedding of Namikaze Minato and Kushina in person, and brought Yuhi, Yugao and Rin to the scene. Jiraiya also changed from the sleazy and sloppy image of the past, and dressed very formally. Not only did the paint on her face disappear, but she also wore a festive kimono, and her fluffy hair was tied together, looking very handsome. As Master Minato, he is also busy running around, helping to receive guests. Today, as the protagonists, Namikaze Minato and Kushina are even more handsome men and women. Minato is dressed in a black kimono, looking calm and handsome, with a gentle and sunny face as always. And Kushina has also changed from the liveliness and carelessness of the past, with a slightly shy expression on her face, wearing a Yuhi-colored kimono, with light makeup on her face, and she is radiant. 3 girls, Yuhi, Yugao and Rin, looked at Kushina and looked even more envious. There was no mischief at the wedding, and various tedious ceremonies were successfully completed, and finally ended in the laughter of people. Even when Lei Luo looked at everything in front of him, he couldn't help but enjoy his future wedding and couldn't help sighing. Namikaze Minato is a winner in life. Chapter 73 _ A special experiment. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. Namikaze Minato, who had just served as Hokage, was so busy that he didn't have a few days to spend with Kushina after getting married. Looking at the documents, I wrote a few times from time to time with the pen in my hand. After the war, there were too many things to do in the village. Just then, an Anbu suddenly appeared in Hokage's office. Lord Hokage. Namikaze Minato raised his head in response and looked at Anbu who was half kneeling in front of him. With a gentle smile on his face, he said, "If you have something to say, tell me." Anbu lowered his head and replied, "When Anbu searched the laboratory of the S-class missing nin Orochimaru just now, he found a special experimental body that survived." Namikaze Minato nodded. "What's so special about that experimental subject?" Anbu Ninja replied, "That experimental subject survived the cell experiment of Lord Hokage, and he awakened Mokuden wood style." Mokuden, wood style. Namikaze Minato was a little shocked to hear the news, but immediately thought of a solution. So Namikaze Minato said, since it is the power of Mokuden, wood style, then send this experimental body to Tsunade-sama. Yes. Anbu Ninja ordered to leave. But suddenly someone pushed open the door of Hokage's office and walked in. It was Shimura Danzo. Minato, leave this subject to me. I will make him the power to protect our Konoha. Danzo said bluntly. Even a person with such a good temper as Namikaze Minato was a little angry looking at Danzo's shameless face. Consultant Danzo, remember that I am Hokage. Besides, in terms of understanding of Mokuden, wood style, no one can compare to the Senju family. Danzo's face darkened all of a sudden, humph, and slammed the door away. Konoha Village, Senju Tribe. Tsunade looked at the experimental subject sent by Anbu, a child who looked like he was only 6.7 years old, still sleeping and not waking up. Tsunade checked carefully and found that although he had only a slight fold of bark on his hands on the outside, his inner vitality was not very strong. How could this be? Is it the reason for the incomplete fusion? Although he survived, his vitality has been lost too much. Tsunade frowned slightly. Tell Leiluo to come and have a look. Naoki's situation has deteriorated into that last time. Can still be successfully suppressed, and the fusion is successful. Quote. Leiluo, who has left Anbu now, is an elite jonin who no longer needs him to do some small things, and he has plenty of time as he hasn't led the team yet. After being summoned by Tsunade, Leiluo quickly arrived at the Senju clan. After listening to Tsunade's description, Leiluo already knew who this subject was. Is it Yamato in the original book? It seems that the current Orochimaru defected a little earlier than the original book, and I haven't had time to check the results of this batch of test items. And Namikaze Minato got the news ahead of time and didn't let Danzo step in and take Yamato away. This should be a good thing for Yamato. After all, in the original book, Yamato was very disgusted to mention the root life when he was young. Thoughts turned, Leiluo said to Tsunade. Tsunade teacher, take me to see that child, try the light escape to see if it works. Tsunade nodded, and took Leiluo to the familiar underground secret room, the one where Naoki was successfully awakened. Leiluo looked at Yamato lying on the operating table, and walked forward without saying anything. His hands glowed with gentle light escape. Light therapy, pressed on Yamato's chest. But Yamato, who received the light escape treatment, frowned. It should be an instinctive reaction of his body to suffering. After a long time, Leiluo stopped his hand. Although the bark folds on Yamato's hand disappeared, the vitality of checking the body also became active again. But Leiluo always felt that this situation was a little different from Naoki's, and had a strange feeling. Suddenly, with a flash of inspiration, Leiluo understood the difference between the two treatments. It's Godzilla. I'm merging with Godzilla now, and my light chakra and Godzilla's energy have merged, with a hint of tyranny. I don't know what will happen to Mokuden, wood style, when Yamato incorporates the current light attribute chakra. Now that Yamato has successfully merged and his state has recovered, it is time to wake him up. Tsunade stepped forward and stimulated Yamato's nerves through medical ninjutsu, and it didn't take long for him to wake up. How do you feel? Opening his eyes, Yamato saw a blonde woman in a white coat standing in front of him, questioning him softly. Next to the woman stood a seemingly ordinary man, but his eyes shone with divine light. Suddenly sitting up from the bed, he glanced around and found that he didn't see those familiar culture jars. Yamato breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned back to the woman in front of him and said, I feel so good now, I have never felt so much better. Tsunade heard the answer from the poor child in front of him, and Chunin couldn't help feeling sympathy. Don't be afraid anymore, you will be a member of our Senju clan from now on. Yamato fused Hashirama cells, awakened Mokuden, wood style, and it is no exaggeration to include him in the Senju clan. Then Tsunade said, son, try that special power in you and see if you can manipulate it. Yamato nodded obediently, tried hard to feel the power that controlled his body, and then raised his hand and a branch grew, but it was not the kind of green full of vitality, but a slightly violent yuhi color. This is... Tsunade looked at the different Mokuden wood-style power in Yamato's hands, and couldn't figure it out for a while. After all, the world Tsunade had seen so far, including Yamato, only appeared 3 people who have mastered Mokuden wood-style. But Lei Luo did not look like I expected, blending Godzilla's light escape chakra, which made the awakened Mokuden wood-style even more destructive. Just when Lei Luo was thinking about it, he suddenly heard Tsunade in front of him calling him. "Tsunade, sensei, what's wrong?" Lei Luo asked suspiciously. Tsunade said to Lei Luo-kun, "I just said that now Orochimaru has defected, and Naoki has no teacher to teach him, and now that the war is over, Naoki can also go out of the village to do some tasks. But for the average ninja, I'm not at ease. Now that you have left Anbu, Lei Luo-kun, as an elite Jonin, you are qualified enough to lead the team as Jonin. So I want you to be Naoki's lead Jonin and help me teach him." So that's what happened. Lei Luo understood what Tsunade meant, but Lei Luo had the idea of taking a class, so he naturally agreed. "I agreed to this matter, but if you want to lead the team as Jonin, you have to apply to Lord Hokage." Lei Luo replied. "Don't worry, I went back and told him at Minato." Tsunade nodded. After all, most of the current regulations in the village were made by the original second-generation Hokage, and she couldn't be more clear about it. "Okay, then leave Naoki to me." Chapter 74 joined the team with Jonin Lei Luo. The week quickly passed again. On this day, Lei Luo was exercising at the training ground as usual. Although the war is temporarily over, it is necessary to persevere to improve his strength. An Anbu ninja suddenly appeared in front of Lei Luo. "Elite Jonin Lei Luo, Lord Hokage summons." After listening to Anbu ninja's words, Lei Luo understood that the arrangement he had applied for to lead the team as Jonin a few days ago was settled. So Lei Luo didn't think much, and followed Anbu in front of him to the Hokage building. He was also curious about who his 2 other students would be besides Naoki. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. Namikaze Minato is still dealing with busy business, and Kushina has complained to him many times recently, hoping that he can go back early every night. On the side of Hokage's office, there were 3 people standing there, all with some nervousness. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Namikaze Minato put down the document in his hand, raised his head, and said, "Please come in." Lei Luo, who was outside the door, pushed the door open and walked in. "Lord Hokage, are you looking for me?" Ha ha ha. Namikaze Minato was already very familiar with Lei Luo, and said with a gentle smile on his face, "Lei Luo-kun doesn't need to be so polite, I think I asked you to help take care of Kakashi for a while." Looking at Namikaze Minato, who hasn't changed much even after becoming Hokage, Lei Luo thought to himself, if Namikaze Minato can continue to serve as Hokage, it will be very good. Namikaze Minato then said, "Didn't you apply to be the leader of the Jonin before? It's not the time to graduate from the ninja school, and the students are not well arranged, and it's only now that they've been decided." Then Namikaze Minato pointed at Lei Luo and said to the 3 standing aside, "This is Jonin Lei Luo, the elite of the village, and he will be your leader Jonin in the future. You must know that his strength is not inferior to mine." Quote. After listening to Namikaze Minato's words, there were already people who couldn't hold back. Naoki jumped out and shouted happily, "Haha, I didn't expect my team leader Jonin to be you, brother Lei Luo." Then Naoki slapped the boy next to him, who was obviously a bit shorter than him, and said, "Call big brother Lei Luo." The boy next to him shrank his neck and said, "Hello, brother Lei Luo." Lei Luo looked at the lively Naoki with a smile on his face, and said, "Naoki, long time no see, you should call me teacher Lei Luo now, don't be so small." Naoki also replied indifferently, "Okay, Mr. Lei Luo." Then he pointed to the boy who was slapped by him just now and said, "This kid is a child my sister adopted recently, and now he is also a member of our Senju family. My sister named him Senju Yamato." In fact, without Naoki's introduction, Leiluo had already recognized the boy. After all, he had just treated him by himself not long ago. It's just that he didn't know what identity Tsunade had assigned to the boy, so he didn't speak rashly. Leiluo looked at the last of the three. The fan on his clothes had already indicated that his family was the Uchiha family. Is it the Uchiha family? It's so interesting. The members of the two major families who built the village turned out to be students of my Leiluo. Thinking of this, Leiluo asked, "What's your name? Introduce yourself." The Uchiha tribesman did not have the arrogance of the ordinary Uchiha tribesman, and replied softly, "Hello, Teacher Leiluo, I am from the Uchiha tribe, and my name is Uchiha Shisui." Hearing the self-introduction of the student in front of him, Leiluo was really shocked. Uchiha Shisui, the genius ninja of the Uchiha clan in the hidden village of Konoha, the country of fire, had a talent for pupil art comparable to Uchiha Itachi when he was young. Powerful, good at using demonic illusion and shunshu, with the name of Anquat, Shisui Anquat, shocking the world. Possesses the strongest demonic illusion Koto Amatsukami, known as the strongest demonic illusion ninja, the genius of the Uchiha family, etc. He is the descendant of Uchiha Kagami, a member of the second-generation Hokage Guard, and is both Uchiha Itachi's mentor and Uchiha Itachi's best friend. On the eve of the Uchiha clan's planned coup, Shisui planned to use Koto Amatsukami to stop Uchiha's coup. But he was attacked by Shimura Danzo before the plan was implemented and lost his right eye. In order to prevent others from causing a fight to snatch his left eye, and also to help Uchiha Itachi open Mangekyo Sharingan, he entrusted his eyes and the strongest demonic illusion, Koto Amatsukami, to Itachi, pretended to destroy his eyes, jumped off the Nenga River and killed himself. Uchiha Shisui is also a character that Leiluo likes very much in the original book, inheriting Uchiha Kagami's full of fire, but unfortunately it is too idealistic and he believes too much in the ugly faces of politicians. But since he has become my student, then I can't let that old dog Danzo do anything more. Leiluo had already made up his mind. But there is one thing Leiluo can't understand, and that is why the Uchiha clan agreed to Shisui becoming his disciple. In fact, what Leiluo didn't know was that the 3 generations of Hokage asked the Uchiha clan to send troops, and 2 of the Uchiha clan were given the quota to enter Anbu. As a descendant of Uchiha Kagami, Uchiha Shisui will never be rejected by the Konoha high level, and he is also a genius of the Uchiha family, so it is understandable that one of the places is given to him. And another place Uchiha Fugaku actually has a decision, that is Uchiha Itachi. It's just that the current Uchiha Itachi is only 3 or 4 years old, and he really can't meet the requirements of entering Anbu. Leiluo used to be the captain of Anbu. He is familiar with Anbu's affairs, and is very powerful. He does not belong to any force in the village. He is a very good candidate for Jonin to lead the team. When Namikaze Minato went to talk to Uchiha Fugaku 2 days ago, Fugaku agreed without thinking. As long as Shisui adapts for 2 years under Leiluo, he can go straight to Anbu. However, there is no need for Leiluo to understand and pay attention to the twists and turns behind it. Leiluo said to the 3 who had become his disciples in front of him, "Come with me, go to the training ground and try your current strength first." Then he turned his head and said to Minato, "4th generation Hokage, Sama, then I'll go with my students first." Namikaze Minato nodded, then replied, "I'll leave these children to you." Leiluo nodded, "Don't worry, as long as you become my disciple, I will definitely protect them and teach them well." Then Leiluo and 3 students pushed open the door of Hokage's office and walked out. Chapter 75 Teacher Leiluo's Quiz. Leiluo left the Hokage building with Naoki and the 3, he walked straight towards the 4th training ground. When he came to the 4th training ground and saw that nothing had changed, Leiluo recalled the training where he used to sweat, and the little warmth he once had with the two daughters Yuhi and Yugao. Consciously put on a smile. Looking at Leiluo, who was in deep thought, Naoki, who was impatient, couldn't hold back. Mr. Leiluo, didn't you say you want to test our strength? Naoki's shout directly awakened Leiluo from the memory. Leiluo helplessly looked at Naoki, who was yelling, and said, Naoki, you need to change your impatient temper. Then he said to the three of them, although you have already known your respective identities in the Hokage office just now, you should introduce yourself again to increase mutual understanding, such as names, dreams, hobbies, and dislikes. Kind of. Naoki, since you're in such a hurry, come first. Naoki listened to Leiluo's words without any cowardice, and said directly, my name is Senju Naoki, and my dream is to become a ninja as powerful as my grandfather, and then become Hokage. As for hobbies, there are many, and there are few dislikes. Then it was Uchiha Shisui who spoke. My name is Uchiha Shisui, and my dream is to keep the ninja world at peace. In terms of hobbies, I prefer raising crows, and learning and developing new ninjutsu. There is nothing to hate. Finally, it was Yamato's turn to introduce himself. He was still a little unaccustomed to having just changed his identity, obviously showing a hint of cowardice. My name is Senju Yamato, and my dream is to be able to protect the people I want to protect. Then I prefer to eat walnuts, like to read some books on architecture, and hate greasy food. After listening to Yamato's self-introduction, Leiluo felt that if he were a character in an anime, he must be full of black lines now. As expected of Mokuten Wood-style Yamato, who is best at the technique of 3 rooms and 2 halls, is nicknamed Greening. Now, do you like to read books on architecture? After the introduction of the 3 people, Leiluo nodded and said, since everyone has introduced themselves and has a simple understanding of each other, then we will start our testing session. No matter what kind of ninjutsu you use, attack me with the intention of killing me, use all your strength, and let me see where you are now. As soon as Leiluo finished speaking, the 3 people in front of him disappeared from Leiluo's sight. Not bad, it seems that there is some awareness of being a ninja. I thought Yamato would stay in the same place stupidly. It seems that Tsunade has already handed him some things. But as a teacher, you have to put up some majesty and let you guys try the beatings of society. Thinking about Leiluo, he turned on his omnipotence, observed everything around him, and searched for the location where the 3 of Naoki were hiding. Naoki is at 3 o'clock, Yamato is at 5 o'clock, not very far from Naoki. It seems that he is subconsciously approaching people he is more familiar with. Shisui's words, at 10 o'clock, looking at chakra's fluctuations, Shisui's hiding should be the best, and he is indeed a famous genius. Why haven't they shot yet? Are they waiting for me to reveal my flaws? Then don't blame me for going first, boys. Then the 3 of Naoki, who were hiding, watched a light flash, and Leiluo disappeared in place. Where did it go? Just when the 3 were still looking for the trace of Leiluo, Leiluo had come behind Naoki. Boom! Leiluo punched Naoki on the head, and Naoki fell directly from the tree. Naoki fell to the ground and suddenly turned into a piece of wood. Hey, is the substitute technique good? Leiluo thought to himself. And Naoki, who was hiding again, rubbed his head, feeling like his bag was bulging. Brother Leiluo is too ruthless. Naoki couldn't help complaining in his heart. Leiluo saw Naoki appearing behind the tree at 7 o'clock, and instead of shooting at him, he shifted the target. Just after the 3 of them were beaten by Leiluo 3 or 4 times in turn, they finally realized that Leiluo already knew all their hiding positions, and they could only be beaten in vain. It's time to take the initiative. The 3 Naoki thought at the same time. The next second, the 3 of them shot at the same time. Kaden, fire style. Great fireball jutsu. Uchiha Shisui held the hand seal in his hand, his cheeks bulged, and a huge fireball was instantly spit out from his mouth. Mokuten, wood style. Adamantine forest call. Naoki and Yamato have the same stitches in their hands, but Naoki is obviously a lot faster than Yamato. In an instant, two thick wooden spears like trees grew from the ground, stabbing Leiluo one after the other. The three attacks from different angles seemed to block Leiluo's position. Not bad, you can have some simple sense of cooperation in the first shot. However, it seems that Yamato has not been able to master this move, and it is a lot slower than Naoki's shot, but it is amazing to be able to initially use Mokuden wood style in such a short period of time. Leiluo didn't panic when he saw the incoming attack, and was still pointing in his heart. Just as the attack was almost in front of him, Leiluo disappeared in place with a light, and the two wooden guns collided and stopped. The great fireball jutsu hit the wooden gun, leaving a charred mark. Leiluo disappeared, and the three Naoki who followed the ninjutsu approaching also lost their target, and stopped helplessly. With Leiluo's strength, the three of Naoki couldn't touch Leiluo's figure at all, but fortunately Leiluo didn't use ninjutsu in a maddening manner, just using the simplest physical techniques to deal with and counterattack. Konoha Fluid Technique. Gang Force Whirlwind. When Leiluo reappeared, it had already reached the top of Yamato's head, and then kicked him unconscious. With Leiluo's control of strength, Yamato was not actually hurt. Strike the enemy to be weak, attacking the weakest link of the enemy. This is the first lesson Leiluo taught for three students. At present, Yamato's strength is undoubtedly the weakest among the three, that is, the weakest link among the three. Now only Shisui and Naoki are left, and it will not cause any trouble to Leiluo. Despite Shisui's demonic illusion interference, for Leiluo with Conqueror's Haki, this level of demonic illusion can be directly immune to it. A few minutes later, the three people who were beaten by Leiluo were tied together by ropes that Leiluo found out of nowhere. Leiluo's quiz ended successfully. Leiluo awakened Yamato who was in a coma again, and then comforted the three people who were downcast. Your strength is actually not bad, it's just that my strength is too strong, which makes you feel this irresistible. From now on, you will belong to my Leiluo's students. Remember to listen to my teacher. Tomorrow, I will start taking you on assignments, and today you can go back and have a good rest. After finishing speaking, Leiluo released Naoki's tie. Disband. Chapter 76-Trace. To the land of Num. Time flies, and half a year will soon pass. I heard that Kushina was found to be pregnant not long ago. It seems that there are only about 9 months left before Naruto's birth. Uchiha Makoto, the wife of Uchiha Fugaku, the head of the Uchiha clan, and Uzumaki Kushina's best friend, Uchiha Makoto, is also pregnant with a child. It is estimated that she will be the second Jinchuriki column child in the future. Uchiha Itachi, who is only 4 years old now, showed the attributes of Brokan before the second Jinchuriki column child was born. Every day, he had to pester Makoto, lying on his stomach to listen to his younger brother's movements. In the past 6 months, Leiluo has also led the Naoki 3 to do a lot of tasks, and Leiluo selected for them all tasks that are difficult but sufficient for them to complete. Every mission, unless in a crisis, Leiluo would not take action, giving the 3 of Naoki enough opportunities to exercise. Now in terms of strength alone, the 3 of them are enough to be promoted to Chunin, but now is not the time of war. To be promoted to Chunin, there must be enough tasks to complete. On this day, Leiluo led Naoki and the 3 of them out of the village to complete a mission and just returned to the village. Despite completing the mission, Naoki looked a little glum. "What's wrong, Naoki?" Leiluo asked, looking at Naoki. "Mr. Leiluo, when will we be promoted to Chunin?" Naoki obviously doesn't want to do the current task anymore. Leiluo took out a booklet from his body and flipped through it, then said, "Well, according to the number of tasks completed, you only need to complete 3 C-level tasks before you can apply to become Chunin." "Ah, 3 more times." Naoki was even more lethargic. "It's very fast. It's only been half a year, and you have the opportunity to be promoted to Chunin." Lei Luo comforted. Just as he was talking, Lei Luo had brought the three of Nawaki to the Hokage office to submit the task. Seeing Lei Luo walking in, Namikaze Minato's eyes lit up. Lei Luo, you came back just in time, and I'm still having a headache about who to send. Namikaze Minato said with a smile. What's wrong with Lord Hokage? Is there something wrong? Lei Luo looked at Namikaze Minato with a fascinated smile and was a little puzzled. Could it be because Kushina was pregnant? Minato held back for a long time, and then changed his orientation. Lei Luo instantly felt the chrysanthemum tighten and stood up straight. Lei Luo, I've said it many times, so don't be so polite. Namikaze Minato's words made Lei Luo even more nervous. He didn't really like me, right? Fortunately, Namikaze Minato's next words made Lei Luo relax. Didn't you do a mission before to exterminate the heretic god cult? Well, yes, I once did this task in Tangzhiguo. Is there any problem? Lei Luo replied. Well, according to the news received by Anbu, it seems that the traces of the evil gods have been found again in the country of Swamp. I was still having a headache just now. It happens that you have experience, so you can lead the team. Namikaze Minato explained. Then he turned his head to the three of Nawaki and said, this mission is considered an A-level mission. If you complete this mission, the three of you can be promoted to Chunin. Yeah, Nawaki jumped for joy at the news. No, Lei Luo's words poured cold water on Nawaki's head, extinguishing his enthusiasm. Now, with Nawaki's strength, I don't think it's enough to complete the A-level mission. Namikaze Minato waved his hand. Isn't it with you? Nawaki and the others are strong enough to be promoted to Chunin. The protagonist of this mission is you. Nawaki and the others are just going to meet the world. Yeah. After hearing Minato's words, Nawaki rekindled hope. Mr. Lei Luo, just take us there. Looking at Nawaki's expectant eyes, and at Shisui and Yamato next to him, with the same expectation on his face, Lei Luo agreed. Okay, then our team will accept this A-level mission. Nawaki, you guys go back and have a good rest, prepare for the day, and we will leave early the next morning. Yeah. In fact, when Namikaze Minato mentioned that the country of swamps found similar traces of the cult, Lei Luo understood what was going on. He had received a lot of arrangements from Wang Chuenko, the leader of the evil god sect he had destroyed last time, and he knew in his heart that it was Huang Izumi, the leader of the sect of Huang Izumi, who came out to make trouble this time. If he remembered correctly, the witch of the country of ghosts sealed the soul and body of the monster in two places. The soul was in the underground palace of the country of ghosts, and the body happened to be in the country of marsh. It seems that Huang Izumi should try to use some methods this time to release the seal of the monster's body and integrate the power of the monster. If he succeeds this time, he will surely create an army of undead, and then prepare to start war again. This scumbag, isn't it good to be safe? A trickster, always thinking about doing something big. Lei Luo's heart was full of disdain for Huang Izumi. Early in the morning the day after tomorrow, Lei Luo and Nawaki left the village and headed straight for the land of swamps. The strength of several people is not bad, they rushed all the way, and it took only 3 days to reach the border of the country of fire and the country of marsh. Stop! Lei Luo, who was rushing, gave an order, and everyone stopped. It's not far from the land of swamps, and Lei Luo doesn't know how much the strength of the Huang Izumi sect has developed, so up to now, he may encounter enemies at any time. Lei Luo is strong and has a fast recovery speed. The current consumption is not much, but Nawaki, Shisui and Yamato are all consumed a lot. It is time to set up camp and take a good rest, so as to have the strength to deal with the next enemy. Shisui, look around to see if there are any enemies. Nawaki, go find some food. Yamato, you are responsible for lighting the fire and guarding. Lei Luo led the three of them to find a suitable place to camp, then turned and ordered road. Yes. After hearing Lei Luo's order, everyone started to perform their respective tasks. After a while, Shisui came back and said to Lei Luo in a solemn tone, "Mr. Lei Luo, I found a village 2 kilometers ahead. There is no one alive in the village. There are traces of fighting. The village is in a mess. The scene is very tragic, and it is likely that the evil spirits of the evil gods have moved their hands." Quote. "Can you know the exact battle time?" Lei Luo asked calmly. "This is not yet certain. The bodies have been taken away, but looking at the blood on the ground, it should have been a long time." Shisui shook his head. Lei Luo lowered his head and thought for a moment, then he made a decision. "Let's set up camp to rest and recover, and then go to the village ahead to investigate carefully to see if we can find any remaining clues, but be careful of possible enemies." Lei Luo said to the Nawaki 3 with a serious look. "Yes." Chapter 77-Undead Legion. The sprite body is unblocked. After resting for an hour, Lei Luo and the others set off again, heading in the direction Shisui said before. The 2-kilometer journey is a piece of cake for ninjas. In 2 or 3 minutes, everyone came to the village. Lei Luo turned on his 5-sided vision and observed it, and found that there was no danger, so he took Nawaki and the others in. As Shisui said, the village was a mess, with dried black yuhi blood everywhere. As for the corpses of the villagers, Lei Luo didn't believe that the people who were taught by Huang Izumi would help to collect the corpses. They should have been collected as Matsuri items and offered Matsuri to that sprite. After a while, several people who searched around the village gathered together again. "Mr. Lei Luo, the buildings in the village were destroyed in a mess, and we couldn't find any effective clues. What should we do?" Shisui asked. "If we don't find any clues, we can only go to the place in the village where the traces were found." Lei Luo couldn't think of anything for a while. He doesn't have that kind of deduction technique, and he can know the enemy's news with just a few calculations. Now he can only take a step by step, and go to the places mentioned in the information first. Boom, boom, boom. A tidy footstep sound came, and there was also a tremor from the ground. "What's the matter?" Just when Nawaki and the 3 were wondering for a while and were about to investigate, Lei Luo had already seen the situation in the distance through his 5-vision omnipotence. "There is nowhere to go after stepping through the iron shoes. It takes no effort to get it. It looks like we have won the lottery." Lei Luo had a smile on his face. He had already discovered that the target in the distance was the undead army under Huang Izumi. Then Lei Luo continued, "Before we could look for it, the enemy came first. Prepare for the battle. Prepare for the enemy." Yes. Swamp Country, Underground Temple. Huang Izumi finally found this place after searching everywhere. Huang Izumi pushed open the gate of the temple and walked in. The stairs went all the way down, and along with Huang Izumi's walking, the lights on the walls on both sides of the stairs lit automatically. The end of the stairs is a huge square, full of seal formations and spells. "It's there." Looking at the Matsuri altar in the center of the square, Huang Izumi instantly became excited. Step by step, the seal formation had no effect on humans. Huang Izumi walked to the Matsuri altar effortlessly. Gently stroking the stone Matsuri altar, Huang Izumi's eyes were a little blurry. "You, the one who keeps me fascinated, sprite." After a long time, Huang Izumi finally recovered from his addiction. "Then let me lift your seal now." Huang Izumi's face was solemn, his body was surging with strength, and his arms were obviously a little thicker. After getting ready, Huang Izumi pressed his right hand on the sealing technique. The spell begins. Then, Huang Izumi kept chanting a mysterious incantation, and the power of his body flowed into the seal with the incantation. Matsuri altar kept disappearing along with Huang Izumi's chants, and cracks began to appear in the stone Matsuri altar. Finally, Huang Izumi's technique was completed. At the moment when the sealing technique disappeared, the stone Matsuri altar also collapsed and shattered. A terrifying aura erupted from the Matsuri altar, and the dark and evil power permeated. The sprite's body has awakened. Ha ha ha. Huang Izumi felt this dark power and laughed wildly. It's really nostalgic. Have you returned to the world? After the momentum dissipated, Huang Izumi stopped laughing and knelt down on one knee. Congratulations on your return, Lord Sphinx. What appeared in front of Huang Izumi was a twisted monster. It was the sprite. You are? The sprite asked. The voice was mysterious and unpleasant, making people feel disturbed when they heard it. Have you forgotten? I'm getting Huang Izumi. Huang Izumi bowed his head respectfully and replied. Huang Izumi. The sprite had a hint of doubt, and the long-term seal made his memory somewhat forgotten. The survivors of the ninjas who used the power of Lord Sphinx to create the Ghost Legion in the past. Huang Izumi explained respectfully. Why wake me up? Sprite asked Huang Izumi's purpose. The astrology has changed. This is the best time for you and me to join forces again to create the Millennium Kingdom. Huang Izumi replied. But where is my soul? This part of my consciousness that remains in my body can't support my activities at all. After this part of consciousness is released from the seal, it will dissipate in less than a moment. Jisun asked. Please use the body under me as a container, and move Lord Sphinx into my body, so that I can use your power. Huang Izumi stood up straight and pulled off the clothes on his upper body. With your power, I will be able to create enough undead legions to invade the land of ghosts and unseal your soul. Huang Izumi broke his chest directly, but no blood came out. Please come into my body. The sprite's body is originally the aggregation of evil chakra and human negative emotions. After listening to Huang Izumi's words, Sprite didn't think much, and rushed directly to Huang Izumi's heart and merged into Huang Izumi's body. When the sprite's body was completely integrated into Huang Izumi's body, the wound on Huang Izumi's chest healed instantly. Then the unsealing of my soul is up to you. Beware of the witch in the land of ghosts, she is the only one who has the power to seal me. After the last thought came out of the remaining consciousness of the sprite, it dissipated. As ordered. Huang Izumi put on the clothes on his upper body again, feeling the power that filled his body, and couldn't help laughing again. In the underground of this temple, the original undead army was also sealed together with the sprites. Huang Izumi was in high spirits, the power in his body burst out, and he shouted loudly. Wake up, my legion! As the power spread, the temple continued to vibrate, and the ground of the square also shattered, and stone warriors continued to drill out from the ground and came to the ground. After a long time, the undead army all awakened, and the hollow eyes of the stone warrior ignited with green ghosts. To march to the land of ghosts, where the soul of Mr. Sphinx is sealed. Eliminate all the enemies standing in front of you. Huang Izumi gave his first order to the awakened undead army. The country of ghosts, the palace of the witch. The shrine maiden of the land of ghosts is praying every day in the palace. Suddenly, the crystal ball in front of the witch lit up, bursting with purple light. All the pictures of the underground temple of the swamp country were displayed in the Miko's crystal ball. Damn it! The sprite's body was unsealed and released. The witch of the land of ghosts looked at the picture in the crystal ball and felt the seriousness of the matter. Looks like it's time for me to do my shrine duties. Come on. The witch of the land of ghosts gave an order, and the guards who were waiting outside the door walked in. Miko-sama, please instruct. The commander of the guards kneeled on the ground respectfully, with his right hand above his heart, waiting for the witch's order. Ask Konoha for help, the sprite's body is unsealed, I need ninjas to help me seal it again. Yes. Chapter 78 Lei Luo Class vs Undead Legion. Huang Izumi is now. Boom, boom, boom. Dozens of kunai with detonating talismans were thrown into the undead army, setting off a series of explosions. In an instant, hundreds of stone statue warriors were blown to pieces. These ghosts are not as difficult to deal with as you said, teacher Lei Luo. Nawaki looked at their dozens of detonating charms and achieved good results, and said to Lei Luo who was beside him. Nawaki, don't underestimate these ghosts, look. Lei Luo shook his head after hearing Nawaki's words, then pointed to the undead army in the distance. Naoki looked around and saw that the fragmented stone warriors that had just been bombed were reunited under an inexplicable force and restored to their original state. What? Naoki was shocked when he saw this scene. Mr. Lei Luo, are these guys immortal? Impossible, nothing can not die, these guys must have weaknesses that we don't know about. Uchiha Shisui didn't believe it at all. Lei Luo smiled and replied, these guys are indeed immortal in a sense. Although their individual strength is not very strong, there are too many to solve. And these guys don't have obvious weaknesses like Shisui said, and there's only one way to get rid of them. What way? The three Naoki turned their heads to look at Lei Luo. The method is to use powerful taijutsu and ninjutsu to directly smash them into pieces. In this way, their strength is not enough to support them to reunite and resurrect again. Lei Luo explained, just like this. As soon as Lei Luo finished speaking, his figure appeared in the air. Light escape, ultimate flash. Lei Luo's hands shone with dazzling light like the sun, and a beam of light like the Jinchuriki column appeared, blasting thousands of undead legions on the ground from the sky. Boom! A loud bang shook the world, and where the undead army was located, a mushroom cloud slowly rose. The smoke cleared away, and what appeared in front of the three Nawakas was a deep pit of more than 10 meters, and those undead legions seemed to have been purified, and they had already turned into particles and dissipated into the world. Okay, so strong. Naoki stuttered when he saw this scene. This was the first time he had seen Lei Luo use such a large-scale ninjutsu. And this trick, Light Done, Ultimate Flash, is a new technique developed by Lei Luo in the past 6 months. It is an advanced ninjutsu of Light Done Laser Cannon. This is the first time he has used it, but the effect is good. Lei Luo, who has now become Godzilla's Jinchuriki column force, has enough chakra to develop this kind of large-scale ninjutsu, and he seems to be able to unleash it with ease. At this time, Lei Luo descended from the sky, looked at his masterpiece, shook his hair, and said, "How is it? The teacher's strength did not let you down." Naoki replied excitedly, "So strong. So handsome. It feels stronger than my Mokuden wood style. If only I could wake up and escape." Lei Luo touched Naoki's head and comforted. "Don't underestimate Mokuden wood style, it's just that you are not strong enough now. The Mokuden wood style of the original Hokage-sama is much stronger than mine." Then Lei Luo opened his mouth and said to the three, "Since we can meet the enemy here, it means that the enemy is not far away from us. This should be just the advance force of the enemy. You guys spread out and check the situation nearby to see if you can find any more news of the enemy. After discovering the enemy, don't do it without authorization, and send the message immediately." Naoki nodded, "Yes." Then the crowd dispersed. Just when Lei Luo eliminated the advance troops of the Undead Legion, Huang Izumi also sensed the disappearance of the advance troops. "Who is it? My undead army was wiped out." Huang Izumi sensed the position where the advance troop of the Undead Legion had disappeared. "It's actually on the border of Swamp Country. I want to see who it is that can destroy my undead army." Then Huang Izumi mobilized the undead army, and then rushed towards the border of the country of Swamp together. Lei Luo, who was exploring around, gathered together again. "I haven't found any other enemies here," Naoki said. "I didn't find it here either." Shisui interfaced. "Me too," Yamato said ditto. "It seems that there is only that undead army nearby, and Huang Izumi is not nearby." Lei Luo sighed and said, "Then we can only follow the direction that the advance troop came from just now." The undead legions are all stone warriors, with neat steps, rampaging all the way, and carving out a path in the forest. Lei Luo led Naoki and the three of them along the newly opened road to chase back all the way. After a while, he had a face-to-face with the undead army led by Huang Izumi, who came to investigate. Lei Luo, who could see the undead army through 5-vision omnipotence, hid with Naoki and a few others, ready to observe the situation. Huang Izumi stood on a chariot of the undead army, looking like a general of the army. Moreover, with his body, his perception ability was greatly enhanced, and he also sensed Lei Luo and several others. Stop. The undead army was forbidden and stopped in place. Come out, everyone hiding in the woods. Hearing Huang Izumi's shouting, Lei Luo knew that they had been exposed, but with his strength, he was not afraid of Huang Izumi at all, and walked out directly. Is it you who destroyed the advance of my undead legion? Huang Izumi was condescending, looking down at Lei Luo. Obviously, he had a very high self-confidence with his body, and he didn't worry about what threat Lei Luo would pose to him. Yes, if I guessed correctly, you are Huang Izumi, the leader of the Huang Izumi sect. Lei Luo narrowed his eyes and looked at the undead army in front of him. The initial estimate was about 10,000. This is not a small force, and their immortality makes them extremely difficult to deal with. Only the 5 major countries can resist this army. Oh, I didn't expect you to hear about my reputation, so I'll give you a chance. As long as you submit to me, I will forgive you for destroying my soldiers. After listening to Lei Luo's words, Huang Izumi instead became determined to subdue him. Lei Luo, who was able to destroy his army of several thousand people, should be very strong and worth winning. Lei Luo sneered when he heard the words, "It's just you." Huang Izumi didn't get angry when he saw Lei Luo's reaction, but said, "I have tens of thousands of undead legions under my command, and no country in this world can stop my attack. I will definitely destroy the 5 countries, unify the ninja world, and build this 1,000-year-old dynasty like never before in the world." Ha ha ha, Lei Luo laughed, "You are too underestimated by the 5 great kingdoms. With just your power, I can destroy them all by myself. With them, you want to unify the ninja world." Humph. Huang Izumi snorted coldly, "You don't eat or drink for a toast. If you don't cherish the opportunity given to you, let's show you the power of my army. All attack." Chapter 79 Lei Luo vs Huang Izumi. Handsome Godzilla Coat. With Huang Izumi's order, the undead army started, and the first was a volley of archers in the undead army. A rain of arrows shot down Lei Luo and the others. Dodge. Naoki, you guys retreat to a safe place first, the enemy is not something you can deal with now. Lei Luo shouted loudly. Naoki and the others knew that staying here would only drag Lei Luo back, so they used ninjutsu to block the rain of arrows in front of them, and then left here in an instant. Lei Luo, who watched Naoki and the others leave safely, no longer had any worries. Light escape. 8-foot Chang Tomo, his hands released countless light bullets. One by one, the arrows that struck again, shot them down. Then flashed into the air again, releasing light escape. Ultimate flash. The familiar scene appeared again, and along with the mushroom cloud, another part of the undead army disappeared from the world. And Huang Izumi, who was standing on the station bus, was also blasted into the ground by Lei Luo's trick. Damn it. This is the ninjutsu you used to destroy my undead army. Huang Izumi climbed out of the deep pit, and the wound on his body healed quickly. Disperse. Huang Izumi gave an order, and the undead army changed its formation and dispersed. Otherwise, in such a dense formation as just now, as long as Lei Luo fires 2 or 3 final flashes, he will be almost dead. Even after killing Lei Luo, it would take a long time to create such a group of undead legions. How's it going? Are you happy with this ultimate flash? Lei Luo, who fell from the sky, looked at Huang Izumi and laughed. HMPH. Your power is pretty good, and you have great restraint against my undead army, but I don't know how much power you still have in your body. Huang Izumi is not a fool. He knew that such a large-scale and powerful ninjutsu would also consume a lot of energy. Even if Lei Luo still had strength in his body, there was definitely not much of it. It's a pity, he doesn't know a wall hanging terrifying. Hee, the strength in my body is enough to kill you. Lei Luo replied. Really, you underestimate me too. Do you think I just rely on the undead army? It's time for you to see my own power. Huang Izumi said while using the power of the monsters in his body. The black chakra breath permeated from Huang Izumi's body. Then Huang Izumi stomped his foot and rushed towards Lei Luo, and said, "I have merged the power of Lord Sphinx." Lei Luo felt the strong chakra aura emanating from Huang Izumi's body, but a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Have you integrated the power of sprites? It's a little bit more challenging like this. I also want to try how strong I am now. I hope you can hold on for a little longer." Huang Izumi's expression was cold and his eyes were crazy, and he rushed to Lei Luo's face in an instant. "Dead duck has a tough mouth. Go to hell." Then punched Lei Luo in the face. But he was instantly clenched by Lei Luo's fist. "Is that only the power?" Lei Luo shook his head, showing a pity. Huang Izumi felt a surge of anger fill his mind, and he lost his calm in an instant. "Ah!" Izumi in front of Lei Luo roared, his muscles twisted, the black chakra kept coming out of his body, and his whole body began to swell. Soon, Huang Izumi turned into a twisted black monster, just like the Stitcher abomination in the games Lei Luo played in a previous life. "Damn it, I can't afford to play, and I will transform if I disagree." Lei Luo complained for a while. But he also understood that Huang Izumi's transformation should be like a sprite. Huang Izumi, who has grown bigger, still has reason, and turned into looking down at Lei Luo again. "Try my current power." Then he punched Lei Luo down. Boom! Lei Luo's position was instantly blasted into a big hole, but Lei Luo had already gotten out of the way. "Don't you look down on my power. Then why are you hiding?" Huang Izumi, who had transformed, smiled hideously. "What can you do if you look down on your strength? Are you the only one who will transform?" Lei Luo curled his lips. "Then why don't you change it?" Huang Izumi obviously didn't believe it, but he borrowed the power of Lord Sphinx. "Change will change." Lei Luo's voice just fell, directly triggering Godzilla's power in his heart. Godzilla coat. The dark blue chakra emerged from Lei Luo's body, and constructed a set of armored giants outside Lei Luo's body. The 2 rows of spikes on the back flashed a faint cold light. Lei Luo was in the center of this armored giant. Lei Luo also turned on his 5-vision omnipotence with great interest, and observed himself in Godzilla's coat. "Is he really handsome? This is how I play Gundam in Hokage." Then he looked down at Huang Izumi, who had become shorter than him again, and said, "Don't you want to see my transformation? How is it, handsome or not?" Huang Izumi looked at the transformed Lei Luo with jealousy in his heart. "I merged with sprites to have a powerful power. Why can he transform, and why is he more handsome than me?" Then he instantly lost his mind and rushed towards Lei Luo. If Lei Luo heard Huang Izumi's inner thoughts now, he would definitely tell him not to compete with hanging on the wall. Looking at the rushing Izumi, Godzilla Lei Luo's hand was empty, and a huge lightsaber appeared in Godzilla Lei Luo's hand, and then directly slashed towards Izumi. However, spooky yellow Izumi stretched out both hands and directly clamped the lightsaber. Lei Luo laughed when he saw this scene. He underestimated the temperature of light. Sure enough, in the next second, Izumi immediately let go of the lightsaber, a burst of black smoke came out of his hand, and a roar sounded from his mouth. But the irrational Huang Izumi could not retreat so easily. Several tentacles emerged from his body and attacked Lei Luo. "My light gun is the nemesis of evil forces. Let's try this trick next." Light escape. Judgment. Godzilla Lei Luo directly threw the lightsaber in his hand, emitting a different silver-white light than usual. The attacking black shot was cut off instantly, and then castrated and inserted into Izumi's body. Izumi, who was stabbed by the lightsaber, underwent dramatic changes in his body. The power in Izumi's body kept exploding, and then it turned into black chi and escaped out, and the figure also shrank rapidly. Soon he returned to his original human form and lay dying on the ground. How is it possible? How is it possible? With the recovery of his figure, Huang Izumi also regained his senses, and it is difficult to accept the current state. The power of the sprites that had been obtained through hard work and planning for many years has disappeared within the body. Lei Luo also exited the Godzilla coat mode and returned to his normal form. Lei Luo was not surprised at the state of Huang Izumi. The trick, light done. Judgment, just now is Lei Luo's ability to combine, light done. Tiankong Cloud Sword, and, light done. Purification. For this evil alien power, it is like a natural enemy. If it is the fusion of the soul and the body, and if he can fully control the power, Lei Luo has not been so easy to solve. But to deal with a Huang Izumi who only fuses the power of sprites and loses his mind when using it, it is too easy. With the disappearance of Huang Izumi's body, his control over the undead army also disappeared, and the undead army was once again turned into a stone sculpture. Lei Luo walked slowly to Huang Izumi and stood still. The lightsaber appeared in his hand again, and then stabbed fiercely. Farewell, Huang Izumi. Author's digression. Recommend a book to a friend. The Emperor's Respect of Martial Law. The Rebirth of a Fantasy Powerhouse plus a Son-in-Law essay. It's very exciting and beautiful, and I hope everyone will support it. In addition, the QQ group of this book has been established. The skirt number is 793,420,536, and more than 10 like-minded brothers have joined. You are welcome to join us. Chapter 80 _ Pick up the pieces. Back to the village. Just when Lei Luo killed Huang Izumi, the witch in the land of ghosts had a feeling again. The sprite's body disappeared. The witch of the land of ghosts was a little unacceptable for the induction she received, but at the same time there were some surprises. You know, all along, she thought that only her ability could reseal the sprites. When she sensed that the sprite's body was broken, she was ready to use her life to seal the sprite again. But I didn't expect that within a short period of time, the sprite was sealed again. According to the records handed down by the witches in the Kingdom of Ghosts, she knew that the sprites were created because of the negative emotions of people during the war. As long as humans do not disappear, sprites will become stronger and stronger, so there is no way to completely eliminate them. But what she didn't know was that all things turned, that one thing existed, and there was always another thing to restrain him. Lei Luo's light power has never appeared in the ninja world, and it happens to be the natural enemy of this evil power. So Lei Luo was able to completely purify the power of the sprite, and the witch just thought that the sprite was resealed. However, the sprite's soul still exists in the world, and as long as there is enough time, it will regain its strength again. Although I don't know who sealed the sprite, the witch is still very happy. After all, no one really wants to die, even if she is already prepared. Come on. The commander of the guards outside the door came in again after hearing the shrine maiden's summons. Miko-sama, what are your orders? The commander of the guards knelt on the ground and asked respectfully. Just now, the sprite has been resealed. You should send someone to chase the people who went to Konoha back. What? The commander-in-chief of the guards was also shocked when he heard the news, but he regained his calm immediately. It was a good thing for the people of the land of ghosts that the witch could not die. Yes, my subordinates will immediately send someone to chase the messenger to Konoha back. Just when the commander of the guards got up and was about to leave, he was suddenly stopped by the shrine maiden. Oh, by the way, you also send someone to check to see who resealed the sprite. Yes. The commander of the guards nodded in response, then straightened up again and walked out. Just after the commander of the guards left, a little girl carved in pink and jade ran in, pulled the witch's arm, and shook it gently. Mother, didn't you say you want to go out with me today? Looking at the lovely daughter in front of her, the witch of the land of ghosts showed a loving smile on her face. Okay, my mother will accompany you to play today. At the same time as he agreed to his daughter's request, he felt more grateful to the spooky sealer who he had never met. It was him who made it possible for her not to lose her life, to prevent her daughter from losing her mother at such a young age, and to prevent her from taking on the heavy responsibility of a witch at such a young age. Lei Luo killed Huang Izumi, he looked at the stone statues standing around. Epsilon equals Omicron. Oh, I have to deal with these ghosts, it's really troublesome. Forget it, these stone statues should be used as targets for Naoki and the others to practice ninjutsu. As the saying goes, if the teacher has something to do, the disciple should do it. Besides, I'm doing it for their own good. Thinking of this, Lei Luo stopped sighing, fired a collective flare into the sky, and then rested in place with peace of mind. Not long after receiving the signal, Naoki, Shisui and the others rushed over. Looking at the deep pit on the ground and the collapsed trees around, Naoki and the others imagined the scene of the battle, and they were shocked. Seeing Lei Luo resting on the ground, he ran over immediately. "Brother Lei Luo, are you all right?" Naoki asked with concern. Lei Luo couldn't help but raised his hand and knocked on Naoki's head, and said, "How many times have you said that? Call me teacher. Besides, how could it be possible to get me with just one Huang Izumi?" Naoki rubbed his head, which was aching from Lei Luo's beating, and replied, "Okay, I got it, Mr. Lei Luo." Lei Luo pointed at the stone statues erected around him, pointed at the three Naoki and said, "Did you see those things?" Naoki nodded. Then Lei Luo continued, "I specially left those things for you to practice ninjutsu. Now that our mission has been completed, there is no need to rush back. You can practice here for a few days." Then he patted Yamato on the shoulder and said, "Yamato, didn't you read a lot of architecture books before? You use the technique of four jinchuriki column houses to build a house and let the teacher see it." Yamato nodded obediently, walked to a nearby open space, and hand-sealed with both hands. Mokuden, wood style, four jinchuriki column home art. A house with 3 bedrooms and 2 halls was built by Yamato. Lei Luo walked around the house, patted it with his hand, looked at the sturdy wooden house, and praised. "Yawa, you did a good job, it seems that you have mastered this technique very well." Then he pushed the door and walked in, saying, "You should practice ninjutsu against those stone statues outside. Remember to smash them all to pieces. I'll go and rest for a while." Naoki didn't complain, nodded yes, and practiced. Kaden, fire style, fire dragon art. Mokuden, wood style, tree bind flourishing burial, quote. Mokuden, wood style, adamantine forest call. Lei Luo, who was lying in the wooden house, fell asleep listening to the constant explosions coming from outside. A week passed quickly, and the remaining stone statues of the undead army had all been reduced to ashes and disappeared from the world. And the 3 Nawakas have been masters of many ninjutsu during their continuous practice this week. It's time to go back. Lei Luo glanced around. The ground, which was constantly being attacked by ninjutsu, collapsed several centimeters, and the ground was compacted a lot. Even if this mission is successfully completed. Let's go back to the village today. After this task is submitted, all 3 of you will be chunin." Lei Luo smiled and said to the 3 Naoki. Konoha Village, Hokage Office. Namikaze Minato looked at the mission report just submitted by Class Lei Luo, and nodded. "Lei Luo, fortunately you are the one who completed this task this time. According to the number and difficulty of this undead army, this task can already be upgraded to S rank. Previously, the witch from the Kingdom of Ghosts sent someone to our Konoha to issue a task and ask for assistance, but it didn't take long for someone to cancel it, saying that the target had been completed, and then changed it to a task of issuing information on this matter. I didn't expect this person to be you. You can be considered to have completed 2 tasks at one time this time." Lei Luo smiled upon hearing this. "Oh. Is that so? Then the bounties for these 2 missions belong to our team." Namikaze Minato nodded, and then said, "Yes, this time Lei Luo class successfully completed the S-level task to eliminate the undead army, and the B-level task to investigate the information about the disappearance of the undead army. The bounty for the 2 tasks also belongs to you.